Welcome everybody to the meeting of the Zoning Commission. This meeting is now officially called to order. It is March 11th, 2026. It is 1:05 p.m. Thank you all for coming. Really appreciate all of you in the audience being here. This is what it looks like to have a voice in your community. So thank you for being here. We appreciate it. There are a bunch of you, and I'll probably say this again. I know a lot of you are here for one case in particular. And this is a little bit different than, and Stephanie's going to regurgitate some other stuff that I'm saying right now too in a second that she has to read. But in City Council, you all get, your specific time to have your comments. For zoning, it's a little bit different if you haven't been here before. But each side has 7 minutes. So if you're presenting, you have 5 minutes. And if you're in opposition, you have 7 minutes. That 7 minutes is for the entire opposition. It's not a piece. That being said, it looks like there are probably 20 or so of you that want to speak about one case, so we'll give you some additional time. But just knowing that if a point is brought up that someone says before you and you were going to bring up that point, just let that point, if it's already been said, maybe just let it be said and give us some more information, because what we're trying to do is take all the information, new information, to help make the most responsible decision that we can, or the most responsible recommendation to council that we can on your case. And then we'll give 2 minutes to the opposition, to the applicant to rebut or counter anything that was said during the 7 minutes. So again, thank you for being here. Commissioners, thanks for being here as always. And Stephanie?
All right, thank you. Welcome everyone to the March 11th, 2026 Zoning Commission meeting public hearing. Today's meeting agenda can be found online at www.fortworthtexas.gov. Speaker registration forms must have been turned in prior to the start of the meeting. Today's public hearing is being documented by cable television and video conference recording, which will be available on the city's website. Cases heard at this public hearing are to be heard at the April 28th council hearing. And please note that date because the date of the April council meeting has changed. It was originally April 14th and it is now April 28th. So please make note of that. Unless otherwise stated on the agenda. And I do want to note there are a few cases that will be going to the March 31st council meeting. So if you have any questions about that, please ask staff. To achieve a timely and orderly meeting, the commission requests that the following rules of procedure be respected. Each case will be called in the sequence listed on the agenda unless otherwise directed by the chair. All ensuing dialogue shall be directed to the commission only. After staff presentation, the applicant and support will be given a maximum total of 5 minutes to present their case. Opposition may then speak for a maximum total of 7 minutes. At the conclusion of opposition, the applicant will be provided 2 minutes for rebuttal. Those that are not able to speak today are encouraged to submit comments or sign up to speak at City Council. Sign-ups to comment or speak at City Council begin the Friday before the scheduled council hearing. Continuation beyond the speaker's allotted time will be subject to the chairman's sole discretion and approval. All other meeting procedures will adhere to board-adopted rules of procedures to the extent possible. Following the official close of each case hearing, the commission will remain in open session to discuss and vote upon the item in question. During this time, no further public testimony or commentary will be allowed unless directed by the chair. A closed executive session may be held with respect to the posted agenda items to enable the commission to receive advice from legal staff. For additional information on any case on today's agenda, you may contact the Development Services Department by calling area code 817-392-8028. Mr. Chair, the first order of business is roll call. The Zoning Commission requires a quorum of 6 members to be present and available for voting. Please be advised that it takes 6 members to approve a zoning case. The following members are present today: Chairperson Rains, Commissioner Mayo, Commissioner, oh, he's not here, that's right. Thank you. Commissioner Trujillo, Commissioner Welch, Commissioner McCoy, Commissioner Edmonds, Commissioner Robinson, Commissioner Pierce, Commissioner Rogers, Commissioner Werman, and Commissioner Castro. There are 10 zoning commission members present, and Mr. Chair, we have a quorum. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the previous month's minutes.
We are open for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move approval of the minutes.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Edmonds to approve and a second by Commissioner Robinson.
Commissioners, how do you vote? Chairperson Raines.
Aye.
Commissioner Trujillo.
Aye.
Commissioner Welch.
Aye.
Commissioner McCoy.
Aye.
Commissioner Edmonds.
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson.
Aye.
Commissioner Pierce.
Aye.
Commissioner Rogers.
Aye.
Commissioner Werman.
Aye.
And Commissioner Castro. With a vote of 10-0, the Zoning Commission votes to approve the meeting minutes. Next item of business are the continued cases. First up on the docket is ZC-26-005. Case manager is Dave McCorkadell, Council District 2. Site location is 4001 Ohio Garden Road. Owner applicant is Stockyards North LLC / Sean Shanklin PE and Chris Rapkoch Kimley Horn. The request is to rezone from PD 69 / PDSU for a temporary vehicle storage facility as amended, site plan approved, to PDI, plan development for all uses in I-Light Industrial, excluding boarding home facility, correctional facility, electrical power substation, gas lift compressor station, gas line compressor station, wastewater sewage treatment facility, outdoor amusement, massage parlor, sexually oriented business, assaying, blacksmithing, or wagon shop, chicken battery or brooder, coal or coke yard, electroplating, food processing, galvanizing, machine shops, paint mixing or spraying, paper box manufacturing, pattern shop, rubber stamp manufacturing, asphalt or concrete batch plant, gas and drilling production with development standards for front yard landscaping, outdoor storage within the 50-foot supplemental building setback, not providing the 20-foot landscape buffer yard, and use of an existing 8-foot tall metal screening fence with a 2-foot height extension to match the existing material for a total of 10 feet in place of required masonry screening wall or wood fence, and restricting hours of operation from 7 o'clock a.m. to 7 o'clock p.m., site plan included. Whew. That's a mouthful.
Is the applicant here? Welcome to the Zoning Commission.
Thank you. My name's Kyle Polson. I live at 4132 Idlewild Drive. We bought this property a little bit over a year ago. We were here last month and asked for a continuance. We were not then aware of any opposition. Since then, we knew about it. We've worked closely with Dave and Councilman Flores. And so I've personally talked to or met with 17 neighbors in 3 of the HOAs nearby. And this property is just over 7 acres. It's concrete, 100% concrete with a fence around it. We were trying to expand it from the tow yard to also just a lay-down yard or a fence yard. Specifically, we have a film crew, most of us see around Fort Worth, that wants to store some of their filming trucks and equipment when they're not filming, and that would require the zoning change. So I think we've done, I think, a pretty good job of the outreach to the neighbors. I'm not aware of any opposition. The only thing that's a little different is the community to the east. It's 2 to 3 feet. We would like the fence that's in the back to stay the same height all the way to the front. And I think Heather's going to come visit with y'all, but we've worked closely with them. We've had an engineer look at the fence. We won't disrupt for any of the floodplain issues. We would just be an extension on the fence to accommodate the neighbors that would be affected by it, noise and sight.
You're saying that this is still going to be used for temporary storage of film equipment? that
We-
type of thing?
Yes, sir. We've got a 3-year proposal from this group. I told them we couldn't move forward with them until we had this zoning change. It would be trucks, like bobtail trucks, cars, whatever the equipment for filming the TV shows.
So it's currently zoned for temporary vehicle storage. Why would they not be able to do that as it exists?
Two things that I understand. We would like to put on the site plan you see, a building up at the corner for security. The backside, you see the hatch line at the bottom, there's lots of homeless. It's a big issue. So if you get this fenced yard, we fixed it 2 weeks ago. Heather and I were out there 2 days ago. They've already cut the fence. So we believe adding some lights, at least motion lights, and a structure at the front would help kind of deter the homeless people from getting in.
Is that a metal fence in the back as well to match the current?
It's a chain link fence to the west. It's a chain link fence on the riverside, and we've got to allow for the water to shed. And then to the east side, it's a solid fence, metal fence. And that's the fence we'd like to raise to accommodate the neighbors, the metal fence on the east.
Okay.
And you said this is a 3-year contract you're trying to get?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And this is a question for staff. Since it's a PD, could we do a 3-year if we wanted to? Could we approve this for 3 years?
I would
No.
I would not recommend doing that.
You would not recommend doing
Yeah,
that?
I would not recommend doing that.
Okay, all right. Thank you. All right, any other questions for the applicant? And I believe we have Heather signed up to speak as well. Heather?
Esteemed zoning commissioners, I am Heather Marinello, resident since 1997 at Texas Gardens Mobile Home Park of 81 homes, 70 of which are located immediately on the east side of 4001's property. I was surprised to not see that no homes are even pictured there. Therefore, I am requesting that you allow Mr. Kyle Polson to vertically extend further upward and for its full length the current corrugated metal screening on the east side of the 4001 property so that its upper edge is on a consistent horizontal level of 10 feet above the ground, because sections of their current fence actually sit 3 feet under ground level, while we residents have to stand in our homes 3 feet above ground level because our floors are elevated to accommodate the 3-foot skirted empty area under each of our dwellings to house heating and cooling ducts, insulation, water pipes, home repairs, etc. While these residents are in their kitchens standing 3 feet tall and that fence is 3 feet low, we're hearing noise and we're seeing and want that fence as high as you will all allow, because it's affecting 18 homes directly, some of which are in literally 0 inches of their fence. The house, the corner of the house is sitting against their fence. And then there's other homes that are sitting 3, 5, 6, and 9 feet away. And then there's another 4 homes that are 14, 15, and 16 feet away. So there's 12 homes that are immediately immediately affected by the fact that this fence is not at a consistent height or a height enough. So please elevate it as evenly and as high as possible so that we residents can accept their presence and not be worried about seeing and hearing things even during the day. Some of them sleep at daytime because they have work at night. I would ask that you consider this request very important to make that fence tall and sound varying. Thank you.
Thank you, Heather. And John, you signed up. Do you have anything to add or? Okay. All right. Very good. And there is no opposition signed up to speak in regards of this case. So questions for any of the applicants, commissioners?
So if they're adding lighting, I would just be concerned with where they place that in regards to the neighboring mobile home park so it's not overshooting into them. It's on.
Yeah.
So we planned, once we raise the fence, is to put the lighting below the fence, shining back to the west. And then if there were some motion lights, in case some of the homeless people came on, they would come on for 3 minutes, 4 minutes, and then shut back off.
And those motion lights, those would be down by the river, kind of on that far
We
side?
would put them anywhere that would adversely affect if you were asleep in your home, they would shut back
Okay,
off.
okay.
But I would think for sure on the east side, shining back to the west.
Okay,
They're not shining at their house.
okay, all right.
Commissioners, I believe you could add that requirement for the lighting, though. Isn't that correct, Chris?
Yes, as part of the development
development
standard to
standard.
mitigate any lighting concerns, then yes, you could add that as a requirement.
I have a question.
So something stating that
Facing
the
inwards
motion lights wouldn't
The property.
stay on longer than a certain amount of time, or that they would face in a certain direction? Or either?
So yes, if you wanted the lights to be more downward facing, as well as limited in for the motion sensors to be limited in time to 3 minutes, then yeah, then
Okay.
you can craft some language.
Do you have any opposition to that?
Yes, sir.
All right.
We've tried to take the approach like we live there, so what would be fair, reasonable, and it's already zoned through the PD to have a tow yard, which I don't think's great, right next to home. So we've tried to work with the neighbors and have the lens that, like, we live there too, so
Okay,
I think that'd be reasonable.
all right, thank you. Any other questions, commissioners? All right, seeing none, I will close the public hearing and leave it open for some discussion or a vote.
Is the crux of the issue here the fence or the usage? I'm confused by the description on our,
So it's actually both. So as the applicant mentioned, the current use is for vehicle storage, a vehicle storage facility. They're requesting to rezone it.
it's just the building that they want to build.
I'm sorry.
That little building that they want to build is the issue. They could still store, doesn't matter if they're film trucks or tow trucks.
Well, that's true. And I think at the time, we weren't really sure what they were going to be storing there. So they're doing that, and then most of the issues are just that they're not meeting the buffer yard requirement,
And then the fence.
the metal screen, the screening or fencing requirement.
Yeah, and they're asking for a 2-foot extension on the height of the fence. And, you know, Heather addressed that part.
It sounds like,
And they're restricting the hours of operation there too. So they're actually, while they're requesting some things, they're kind of, you know, also restricting.
Self-restricting
They're
themselves.
self-restricting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brian, would you want to add any language if you were?
Yes, I
looking
want
at
to add
approving?
language basically requiring all lighting to face inwards towards the center of the property, and then any motion lighting has a maximum of 3 minutes that it can be on before it shuts back off.
Just, when you make your motion, add that.
Yep.
Any other discussion, commissioners?
If they keep moving, it'll stay on. So it's when motion stops, that 3 minutes timer would shut off. Yeah, I'm ready. So for ZZ 26-005, I move to approve with additional language, adding that all lighting will be facing inwards towards the center of the property, and any motion lighting will shut off after 3 minutes of no motion.
Okay, do we have a second?
a second.
All right, we have a motion to approve by Commissioner Trujillo and a second by Commissioner Welch.
Commissioners, how do you vote? Chairperson Raines,
Aye.
Commissioner Trujillo,
Aye.
Commissioner Welch,
Aye.
Commissioner McCoy,
Aye.
Commissioner Edmonds,
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson,
Aye.
Commissioner Pierce,
Aye.
Commissioner Rogers,
Aye.
Commissioner Werman,
Aye.
and Commissioner Castro. With a vote of 10-0, the zoning commission votes to approve this case.
And our next case has been withdrawn.
Yes, next case is ZC 26-006, which the applicant has requested to withdraw.
And Stephanie, before we move on to the next case with our new cases, Commissioners, would there be any opposition to us moving case 001 to the top since at least looks like most people are here for that, they wouldn't have to stay so late. Anybody be opposed to that? Okay. Then Stephanie, if we would just reorder 001 to the top, so we can let the folks that are here for that case do that one first. And just as a reminder of this case, if you are here to speak in opposition, once I start calling the opposition, just to help move things along, if you would just line up together, and then when you get up to speak, if you'll just state your name and your address real quick. And if you did not have a chance to fill out one of those, Lynn, if you'll raise your hand, she'll get you a sheet to fill that out, because we've got to have that on file. So that'll just help move things along. So we appreciate your cooperation with that. All right.
Perfect. Next case on the docket, next order of business are new cases. And the next case on the docket is ZC-26-001. Case manager is Lynn Jordan, Council District 10. Site location is 3553 Lodick Lane. Owner and applicant is BB House LLC / Fifth Gear Automotive, Ricky Jordan and Jacob Morris. Wes Hoblet of Master Plan Consultants. Request is from rezoning from PD 894, PDSU, Plan Development Specific Use for warehouse, outdoor storage, greenhouse, showroom, retail sales, office, and up to 15 temporary portable storage containers, not to exceed 6 months use in a 12-month period, site plan waived. 2, PD/SU, Plan Development Specific Use for warehouse, outdoor storage, incidental to the primary use, greenhouse, showroom, retail sales, office, and automotive repair, excluding paint and body shop, developed to neighborhood commercial standards, with development standards for automotive repairs conducted on premises that adjoin a residential district boundary, automotive repair adjacent to a 1 or 2 family district, and automotive repair with bay doors facing a 1 or 2 family district with a site plan included. Just a reminder that this case will be heard by the City Council on March 31st.
All right, is the applicant here? And welcome to the Zoning Commission.
Thank you. Wes Hoblet with Master Plan Consultants here with Fifth Gear Automotive. Going to go through a brief presentation. So obviously you guys know the zoning, PD 894, next to us is 895, kind of shows when both of these came into the city around 2010, 2011, as staff mentioned before. So right now, you know, the use allows for some pretty open-ended PD right now with specific uses, but obviously outdoor storage, you know, without a CUP just isn't a use by itself. Temporary storage containers for limited months, and you know, just kind of open-ended, no site plan, no restrictions on this property except for the uses listed. We're looking to add outdoor storage tied with the primary use, as well as getting rid of the storage containers that can be there for 6 months, as well as staff's recommendation do the development standards of neighborhood E, just so there's future protections on the property, and we're also adding a site plan for any future changes we need to come before you guys again. So really, it's just the storage containers, outdoor storage by itself, so you couldn't just have, you know, stuff lying around in the yard as it could be allowed today. Site plan that kind of shows what's going to be on the property, and any changes of that would need to go back through the zoning process, and then development standards. Below is a photo. I think this is when the Penguin Patch was operating on the site, you know, in November, December. You know, there's storage containers on the site which can just be put on the property. So a little bit of kind of how we got here, you know, there was a little bit of backstory. You know, the lease, I guess the leasee, you know, the property owner worked with Fifth Gear Automotive on trying to, you know, lease the property. They, you know, contacted the city, thought that they could do it. They filed for a CO. They got a CO. Then it turned out that they couldn't, in fact, operate on this property by right. During that time, you know, they went through, got rid of the septic system, added a fence and screening, and you know, put a lot of money and equity, honestly, into the property, trying to improve it, but kind of got bogged down by, you know, having a permit than not having a permit. And so then, you know, we kind of stopped all work on the site, as you can see through some of the photos a little bit later on. And you know, we started discussions with the neighborhood, talking with staff, talking with the council member, and you know, just had a neighborhood meeting pretty quickly after we filed on the 11th, and then emailed the site plan as soon as it was sent to staff to a representative at Hudson Oaks, who's kind of, I think he's going to speak after me. So here's the site plan. You know, we went ahead, you know, this is what we're going to be locked into. We had like a tentative site plan that didn't really meet the standards of staff, so we had to go back and do another one. And so there's fencing on the property on the other side. You know, here's what we've done so far. I'll come back to the site plan, but the screening, remove the septic system, and the rest is what we're going to do. You know, the drainage, there were kind of some concerns about drainage in the back of the property from some of the neighbors. You know, we'd go ahead and take care of that, obviously. We would pave it. It's gravel for most of it right now. Our traffic numbers are, you know, pretty low. I don't know if you guys are familiar with single-family traffic numbers. It's about 10 a house. We're looking at 20 cars a week for customers. That's about 4 a day. We are not open on the weekends. So this is 8 to 6, Monday through Friday. And we're going to landscape the property too. So yellow is where we're looking to put in some trees. The purple is where we've done the fence, so screening that you know, lot that we keep the cars that are done with maintenance in the back or waiting for pickup. The water and the sewer system, you know, we added that, had to move the main line over from Alta Vista, and then looking to put more trees and screening on the site that are just not there today. So here's a little bit more operational details. You know, everything's indoors. You know, no outside storage of anything at all. One bay door, so it's AC climate controlled. So we're not going to be, you know, like a Discount Tire where there's like 6 bay doors and they're open all the time. You know, we are paying to obviously AC the unit. We have one door that's open. We want to keep the techs and people working on site cool during, you know, all times in the summer. A third of customers actually use the concierge pickup. That's a service that Fifth Gear offers where they will go and pick up your car and they will drive it to the shop, so you don't even have to go to the shop if you don't want to. We don't do any sort of commercial vehicles, anything like that. No auto paint, auto body repair, anything like that. More intensive, you could say. And you know, we work on higher end cars, but also any other cars that are available. I think staff showed this photo. This is kind of on the rear of the property. The arrows denoting, you know, which direction we're looking. Kind of on a rise, a little bit of a hill. You know, got the landscaping, the trees back there. There's about 5 existing oak trees. AC pads. Directly to the west, this is a landscape like contracting company. They've been there for quite some time as well. I think they were also there, you know, during the annexation period prior to the city bringing them in the city of Fort Worth. Here's the fence that we were in the process of building. We finished in December because we already had the permit, and that was, you know, we just went ahead and finished the fence since we had that in process. Here's another view looking, I guess, northeast. And then you can see the dirt, turned dirt is the sewer line that we put in as well. So that's, you know, we were in the process of doing all these things and then kind of had to stop the work. So this is what the inside looks like. You know, it's all inside. You can see the 2x4s in the back. That's more like a mechanic's wall and more insulation. It is insulated for sound just because it is AC'd. And then just some more photos really quickly. And then this is the fencing, match the neighborhood, discussions with staff over the fencing, landscaping. We do have some neighborhood support, and Children's Lighthouse does support us as well as our neighborhood to the west. So,
Okay.
Our neighbor to the west, not the neighbor. Thank you.
Thank you, Wes. Do Ricky or Bill want to speak now, or do you want to hold their time?
We're going to hold their time probably till the end to answer more operational questions,
Okay.
things like that.
All right. Any questions for the applicant before we hear from the opposition?
I got all jumbled.
Thank you, Wes.
Yep.
And now, if you're here to speak in opposition to this case, if you would go ahead and line up. And when it is your turn, whoever gets here first, you can speak first. If you'll just say your name and your address and tell us what you think. Welcome.
Good afternoon, Commissioners and Chairman. My name is Eric Wilhite. I live at 12012 Lost Trail. I am within 200 feet of this subject property. I'm also the Hudson Oaks HOA VP, so I'm here to represent a lot of my neighbors as well. So before I purchased this property, I checked being an AICP certified planner and doing community development planning for 30 years. My first instinct was to check what those land uses were, and I did so. And at that time, it was the PDSU with the limited uses that have been mentioned before. And so it did include automotive use then, and I don't believe it should now, or why should it now? Back in when Penguin Patch, who is a school supply distribution center, was there, some of the photos you saw show a lot of containers. Those containers were hardly ever there except at the peak times. So it was very undisruptive to the neighborhood, and everybody knew that was what was there when we bought our homes, and we were okay with it and dealt with it. Now, there were some times where the containers stayed there longer than they were supposed to, and we had to call code services because we knew what the zoning allowed. So once the current operation ceased to operate, it went on the market, and we were watching it and started noticing that there was a change of land use. So my first instinct, being a planner, was to call the city and find out, you know, seeing the vehicles that were coming and going and a small sign that went up, dedicating automotive use that we knew was not a permitted use, I contacted this city. Some mid-level staff planners told me, yes, automotive isn't allowed, so it would require a zoning change. From that point on, for about 6 weeks, I went back and forth with certain city staff, deliberating on how this could be allowed, that it's not permitted under the current CU and the PD. And after about 6 weeks, staff did opine that a zoning change would be required. With that, I'm just going to real quickly go over, what we see is a planned development purpose and intent, and described in Article 3 of the Fort Worth zoning, is to encourage the unified design of different land uses. This land use kind of popped in there, and being a PD, the site plan that we've been presented seems somewhat inadequate. I don't see anything that offsets or mitigates any of the negative impacts that this type of land use could have, or how it becomes more compatible with our residential neighborhood. So as I mentioned, the site plan, what protections and features are included to ensure the development will be compatible with existing allowable development on the adjacent land uses. But more importantly, is the City of Fort Worth has Chapter 5, Supplemental Use Standards 5.104, Automotive Repair, Paint, and Body, which specifically talks about, to us, there's no ambiguity to it. It says that the district proposed use of automotive repair and land adjoining residential districts is not permitted, is specifically prohibited. This isn't only adjoined by one neighborhood, it's adjoined by two, on the north and the south. And as well as no automotive can have any overhead doors facing residential, which it does. At first, when we started talking to staff, I don't think they were necessarily cognizant of or paying attention to the fact that there was that Chapter 5 and that specific portions of the code relating to automotive uses adjacent to and adjoining residential. Then, as we went on and the zoning case came through, staff added a provision for the additional zoning for development standards, but in the provisions of Section 5C and D, it applies to any automotive repair facility in any district between FR to K. So therefore, regardless of what staff or the applicant put and classify the zoning district for development standards, that still applies. When I look at this as a professional planner, I don't think the PD should be utilized as a vehicle or a means to circumvent or grant waivers, as it's stated in the description. Obviously, these supplemental standards are put in place for various land uses in Chapter 5 for a reason. In doing so, seemingly waiving those through a PD vehicle seems to be, could be interpreted as spot zoning, and certainly can start setting a precedent. Anytime an automotive use wants to come in next to residential, they can just ask for a PD and try to waive those requirements. The proximity to the homes, I believe, was asked during the work session. I believe they're around 50 to 75 feet from the structure to the actual dwelling units. That's close enough, and based on the supplemental standards, that there's a concern that there'd be noise issues and types of things. We can't control unless there's something in the ordinance that controls having noise attenuation inside the building. That's not part of the ordinance. And the site plan, as I mentioned, I didn't see anything that showed any extra vegetation or landscaping on the front or the back. So and recently we looked back, and there seems to appear to be two recent automotive land uses that came through for rezoning, and they were both denied. And they were in less of a pocket or in the middle, in the midst of a residential single-family district, and those were denied. When the homeowners, me included, bought this, there's no way that we could have reasonably expected that sooner or later an automotive use would come in and ask for this to be zoned in this PD and the CU be completely changed. That includes the people on Dwarf Nettles Drive portion in Vowles, and the residents, obviously, in Hudson Oaks. Access to this property is through residential streets. There's no other way to get to it. All of the automotive uses that I've seen around in our neighborhoods are on a more major collector type street. So there's that issue too. We can debate and argue about the traffic counts and those types of things, but those traffic aren't wreckers bringing in the vehicles from other places. They're operationally, makes sense. It's just contextually in the wrong place. They're coming in, bringing in cars from other places to be serviced here. Why not service them in Southlake, where their concierge service is? We've heard you might hear the applicant speak to how, and they've told us they would be a good neighbor. Well, the zoning ordinance doesn't speak to being a good neighbor, and the land use runs with the land, and that's our biggest concern too, is Fifth Gear, we have nothing, it's not about them necessarily as an operator. They could be good and everything, but it runs with the land, and we don't know who could come in next, and they might not care about the neighborhood at all. And we've already seen that the city of Fort Worth is very busy. It's hard to keep up with code enforcement and those types of things, and we just don't need that type of issue. So, based on the previous mentioned facts and the zoning criteria, we're requesting that the application be denied with prejudice.
Thank you, Eric. Welcome to the Zoning Commission.
Thank you. My name is Josh Allison, 12005 Shady Brook Drive in Fort Worth. I represent the Village of Woodland Springs HOA. The neighborhood to the north, we're actually to the east across Alta Vista, as well as if you go, we wrap around some of the adjoining properties to the west, and our HOA is on that side as well. So we have about 4,600 residents. This use, I'm going to speak to it from a safety issue. I'll let the professional planner kind of speak to the zoning side of things. You're 28 feet from the property line to the back of the building. It's a 12,000 something square foot building. I don't believe it needs to be sprinklered, but you're storing toxic materials at an automotive shop during the day when work's going on, and you're only 28 feet from an additional property, from residential property. 50 to 75 from a building, that's just not a smart thing, if you ask me. I do understand there was an issue in Fort Worth, I believe South Fort Worth recently, where there's an automotive place that caught fire, and I believe it was multiple dwellings. It was a 2-alarm fire at one point. This is really close to be able to do that. I just don't think that's safe, no matter what mitigation you can do or how you want to operate and be a friendly neighbor. I just don't think that that's a smart thing. Secondly, the traffic. I know on the presentation they mentioned 20 cars per week for customers. They're building a 96-car storage facility right there. We hosted a meeting, or I'm sorry, we didn't host. Fifth Gear hosted a meeting at our HOA Amenity Center. They mentioned that they would be servicing 100 cars a week from this facility. So 100 cars coming and going, that's 200 trips. You got 15 employees coming and going every single day. That's another 30 per day. That's 350 trips going from between, I believe it's 8 and 5 p.m. That's a ton of cars. To enter this property from the south, you got to go through Hudson Oaks Drive. You got to pass 12 residential properties on a residential road to get there. From the north, actually, I'm sorry, you can also go and do a U-turn right in front of Children's Lighthouse, which is actually where I exit our neighborhood at. And so there's already some people turning left right there onto Children's Lighthouse in the mornings. It would be an absolute disaster for vehicles if you have another 350 per week either doing a U-turn, half of them assuming they come from the south, doing a U-turn at that facility or going through the neighborhood. Coming from the north, I think I just said north, but south is that way. Coming from the north, you're going right in front of Children's Lighthouse. You're going through, I think, at least 3 different school zones. But when you from 170 coming south to that property, it's just not smart. The closest fire hydrant is 700 feet away, is my understanding, and so it's just not intelligent to put something that's going to be this close and this encumbered upon the neighbors to be able to do that. So, but I appreciate your time.
Thanks, Joshua. Welcome.
Guess I'm the last one. My name is Stephen Carlton. I live less than 700 feet away from the property in question on 11900 Junewood. I'm a lifelong resident of Fort Worth, yet completely embarrassed how far this zoning department is willing to go to protect itself and this business while completely disregarding residents, and that's why everyone's here today. We are all aware Fifth Gear was mistakenly told by city staff that auto repair was allowed at this property. According to internal emails obtained by Open Records, on November 18th, staff was in agreement that a mistake had been made and rezoning would be required. However, that was only the beginning of the story. After the mistake was caught, we were first told by staff that the PD has a base zoning of light industrial, which allows auto repair. Eric Wilhite fought to prove them wrong. After the mistake was caught, the now ex-assistant director of zoning told us that rezoning is not required because auto repair is an accessory use. Open Records showed that this scheme was devised a week after homeowner complaints and a week after staff was already in agreement that rezoning would be required. A month after the mistake was caught, we were told by DJ Harrell that staff thought this was a warehouse, not auto repair. even though the original change of use application from September clearly stated auto repair. And again, open records later proved that staff was aware of the auto repair use for over a month. After the mistake was caught, the applicant acknowledged in an open meeting with homeowners that the interim assistant director coached them on how to word the PD language in their application, wording that now attempts to use the PD to circumvent clearly written zoning ordinance that protects residents from auto repair. This is not a cut and dry zoning fight, and that's why everyone is here today. This was a concerted effort by city zoning staff to sneak auto repair into this building and in-run residents, this commission, and city council. We have been told many times to trust the process, but Eric had to fight for over 4 months to get the city to enforce its own processes. A simple denial of this case is not enough protection for residents. So I ask, please be the first voice to stand up for these residents and set precedent that this is unacceptable behavior by city staff. Please choose to deny this case with prejudice so residents can finally believe someone is on their side. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. Is that everyone who wanted to speak on this case? I had a Rusty Fuller and also Barbara Brewer, but if you want to hold your time, that is fine. Okay. Okay, thank you. All right. If we will get the applicant back up for their rebuttal.
All right, I'm gonna have to kind of work through this a little bit. Had some slides on the end here, but I know there was, conversations obviously about, kind of how we got here, but, we do believe that the existing, property is compatible. I mean, these are two other sites that they operate right now. They've been in those locations for, I think well over a decade for Louisville and, about the same time for McKinney. They are near residential neighborhoods. They operate inside. They're safe, it's secure. They don't have any, crimes, anything like that coming in there. And, these neighbors are supportive of them. And we had letters of support for them, but they're in Louisville, McKinney. They're not Fort Worth residents. So why would I show that to you guys? But they don't mind them as neighbors and they actually like them. They're, closed on the weekends. They're quiet. Another location, we're next to a school. This one, aerial's not done yet. They just had ground opening or breaking a couple weeks ago. But, medical offices and schools right next door. It's not unheard of to have automotive near residential. In my neighborhood, there's automotive near residential. It's actually, and in my opinion, something a little bit more aggressive with the open bay doors, backing up and open directly to the neighborhood's fences, which, we're operating a building. This is an existing building that we're taking over. The bay doors, we're not moving anything. We're just going and occupying the space. It was there in 2003. I mean, this building's been there longer than really anything else around it. You can see the lots getting platted in 2005. All of the homes were, getting platted and getting built. But this has been here a long time. And, it's always had the use since 2010 when these homes were kind of constructed at the same time. And I think Commissioner Werman mentioned that there was, an annexation prior to the north to this property. But, it has been industrial as long as it's been technically in the city of Fort Worth. And so, traffic, we're honestly expecting like 20 a week. It can go up to that. We can go up, but right now, new businesses, new location, that's not really going to be something that's going to have 100 cars day one. They're going to be pouring in from 8 a.m. to 9 o'clock in the morning. The school next door doesn't see it as a problem. Their Children's White House sent us a letter of support. They don't see us as interfering on their operations for safety reasons, anything like that. 30% of the customers do use the concierge service, so that's something that we think people will utilize. And as far as, vehicles coming in from other locations, this is one of the smallest locations that they operate. So the biggest one is in Crossroads. They have other locations in Southlake that are, about 5 to 10,000, more square feet. They're a little bit bigger, so there's not really a need for cars to come in out of the city or out of the area to be operated on here. So, we have enough parking on site. Our intent is to park employee cars in that lot as well. It's not just going to be filled to the brim like a junkyard or anything like that. It's just people that are getting their cars, they park them there, they come to get their car, and then they leave. And the employees park back there as well, so there's not a visual impairment, and we're looking to do that with the trees. I know there was a comment about how we're not supplying trees. We left it open-ended just because we don't know the type of tree that needs to go in there, but we're working to plant. There's about 5 on the back end, and then in the front, more screening. You know, we don't know how exactly, we know there's water lines, there's things like that. We didn't want to put the exact number of trees or the type just yet, but this is tied to the site plan. We're looking to add more landscaping on the front, furnish out the portion in the back, on top of it being screened from the right-of-way of Lodic. So I think there was another comment about, you know, new users. You know, this is limiting the site. You can't have more intensive automotive users like the guys that do the quick serve, you know, 1 hour changes. This is going to be tied, and if they would need to come back and change anything, they're going to be in front of you guys and, you know, meeting with the neighbors to discuss it. And so the lease agreements are, you know, 10-year deal and 2 5-years. So we're looking to be here a long time. This isn't like we're going to put all this money into a building and be here for a year and then we're moving on to the next. You know, this is an investment that this company is looking to do in this building and in the community, and they just really want to be in this area. The neighbors mentioned a lot of times in our meeting that they, you know, they moved here for a reason. They like it. That's why they picked the site too. You know, I know that, you know, businesses and neighbors sometimes don't really work together well, but, you know, that is a reason why they picked this site, is because they do like this neighborhood. They like that part of Fort Worth, and they want to be good neighbors. And so I know that's not in the zoning code as presented, but, you know, that's something that, you know, I think can be said because it's true. So we're happy to answer any operational questions too. And the two owners, Bill and Ricky, are in the back. I don't know, there's a kind of a photo of them I put over here. They're over there somewhere. So.
All right, thank you, Wes. Commissioners, we have questions for the applicant?
I have a quick question. Wes, there's no, at least I haven't seen yet, and I might have missed it, but there's nothing about a lighting map. So I assume there's going to be that big parking lot to the west.
Yes.
I assume that's going to be secured somehow with lights.
Correct. And if it were going to light it, it would be bollard lighting. So nothing that would, you know, be taller than the fences, wouldn't have like the large kind of stadium pole, would be something that's like downcast and bollard lighting and shielded. So that's, you know, we don't want to impose on anything. But, and for the record, there's never been a break-in at one of their locations ever for cars. That was a comment that we heard, and it's never been one.
Any other questions? All right, thank you, Wes.
Thank you.
Commissioner Robinson, I'm sorry, did you have a question?
I just wanted to hear from the opponents.
Oh, you have a question from one of the opponents? Do you know which one?
The one that did the planning. Yeah,
Oh, the first one.
Right there.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Eric.
Eric, thank you, sir.
Yes.
So question, did you talk to Wes about all your concerns about the planning and the plotting and what could be put there versus what can be put there? Did you have that conversation with him?
Not specifically, because it was up to them in presenting us, telling us they were going to do that stuff, to provide a site plan to us to see if we thought it was acceptable or not. I wasn't going to sit there and design it for them like I could have. I felt it was incumbent on them to show what they were willing to do, knowing that there was those concerns. But any of that I always preface with, that still doesn't alleviate the fact that it's a land use issue. It's just a portion of it. So did I ever, no, I didn't. Do I know what kind of trees, having worked in this kind of, you know, projects before and done site planning and development? I know what I would do to try to make it, but I would have shown people this before I brought it forward to a public hearing. So then I could answer your question.
So he didn't show you that?
No.
Anything.
All I've seen is less than the site plan that was sent to me in my public notice, since I'm within the 300-foot notification, which to me resembled more of just an existing conditions survey than a PD site plan based on the criteria, and the 1 to 15 items that are in the PD site plan that are to be required aren't there. I mean, fire hydrants, one issue, landscaping, mitigation, what paving is going to be, because early on in our discussions, when we had a meeting with staff, once it was decided, opined that it had to have a zoning change, we were looking at the phasing plans that had been submitted in order to get the CO or to do the work that they were doing. And we kept being told, well, they don't have to pave this yet. This is going to be phase 2, or this is going to be, you know, later on. They don't have to do that. And then I would go to the code and say, well, why does it say this in the code? Then how are you interpreting that on whether it needs to be done or not now before they get their CO and start operating? So right then, the faith of whether or not the site plan, unless it's tied to the PD and it's in the site plan ordinance showing us the landscape vegetation, trees, that's plural. Okay, it's 2 trees, unless it's shown on the site plan, right? I mean, the PD site plan can be very specific and should be when it comes to something like this. So there's no question, we don't have to go back to the minutes of the meeting and see, you know, what they did or didn't commit to, in my opinion.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, basically. So Just one more
Basically, I mean,
thing.
there's
Yeah, so basically, yeah, you answered all those questions. So he never met with you, all you folks back there, and had this in-depth conversation about what was going to be planned for this facility.
They showed some concept plan early on that we had seen previously
But not like
at
this.
staff, but not a PD site plan. When they met, as they mentioned, at the Val's Community Center.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. All right. Any other questions? All right. Thank you all very much. And at this time, I will close the public hearing and leave it open for some discussion and a vote. Commissioner Werman, do you have anything you wanted to say, or do you want to hear some discussion from us?
I have a question for staff first. The PD specific use that we're doing has a base zoning of E. Why not use something to show a little bit more of an intense use that also already accommodates the setback that's on the backside of that building? Because it's 25 feet now. So why not move to something like F that already has that in place? That way there's not even a temptation, and it kind of leads toward the comment that Eric was making, that it gives us an opportunity to restore a little faith in them, that we know we're putting this up to the boundary line to really kind of show this is our best guess on how we can handle this.
Commissioner Mormon, so we chose E because the setbacks that was the only one that really accommodates the existing building. So any of the higher, more intense commercial districts required a larger setback and so then that building would be non-conforming because it wouldn't meet those rear yard setbacks.
Is it F or is it FR that has 25 feet? One of them does. FR.
But I don't believe it's 25 feet from the property line.
It is.
I measure, well, I don't have a survey.
But that's my question, is that why not, I mean, if we're gonna use PDs to clean up the mess, let's clean up the mess. And if it's 26 feet, if it's 27 feet, I don't know. I want to, if there's a path forward for the applicant that's gonna show it being, potentially approved at council, I think finding a way to constrict the site as much as possible to, match the plans, to keep it basically the way that it is now, would go a long way with these guys.
I agree.
Now, on top of that, that's me saying, I also don't know that this is the most appropriate land use or the highest and best use that we can do for this facility. Looking at Fifth Gear across the Metroplex, they do indeed have locations adjacent to residential everywhere. The one key difference that I've noticed is that they are all nearly on a major access road. They're not using residential streets. They may be using a neighborhood collector, right? So maybe a 50-foot right-of-way, but they're not using 30s. Because for me, the only way that I see forward is tricky. It involves basically shutting Loddick Lane down to the neighborhood, and it becomes a business drive. And now they all have to go through one entrance. But the way that this area was constructed and piecemealed together, Bray Birch at Alta Vista is supposed to be a major intersection. But this piece of property is in the way. So from a design and planning standpoint, we've created traffic concerns. We've created a need to U-turn. We're adding space and capacity, or don't have enough capacity for what's coming down the line. So just understanding that there are two paths forward, I want to know the easiest way to get it approved and make it constricted, but also I don't think it's the best use, but it's not our decision. We're just going to make a recommendation and let council do this. But with, like I said, I think it would make more sense, off of a major road, like another site that we had on Keller Hicks across from the intermediate school would almost be a better fit because it has that direct access, but now it's in front of a school, and that creates a whole other set of issues. The other kind of worry that I have is that you know, yes, it's restrictive for the future, but it doesn't keep another business from coming in later on and deciding to do something slightly different. You know, do we have the ability to restrict site plans such that they're harder to amend? Because one of the big sticking points is, are we going to add more buildings? Are we going to add more of this, more of that? What can we do to kind of protect ourselves?
Can I make to add on to what you're saying, I mean, the highest issue here is the fact that had staff caught that the CO shouldn't have been issued to begin with, would we even be here? And the second point is I agree with everything that you've said, but are we really just taking a tank of water that is filled with swamp water and trying to put duct tape on all the holes here by tying a timeline, tying a special plan? I mean, I don't agree with the usage either.
I'd say welcome to District 10.
Yeah, sometimes the crime is the cover-up is worse than the crime here, which is unfortunate in the situation that all the things that happen through the city, I haven't read them firsthand, but according to the third gentleman that spoke, I don't know.
Yeah, I think, obviously, a mistake was made. We've all made mistakes at our jobs before. I made a mistake this morning if you were here during our pre-session hearing about the date of the next council meeting. So mistakes happen, so I'm not here to berate anybody about a mistake. But that's part of our job, is to make a recommendation about whether or not that zoning decision is the right one or not. And when looking at that, just looking at the land use and how we typically look at a case like this, we would never put an automotive use in a neighborhood. Certainly, there would have to be some big exception as to why we would want to do that. And in this case, I don't find one. I mean, it's completely surrounded. You could make an argument on four sides by residential. So in the way that I'm viewing this, it's not a good land use for automotive, and it doesn't follow the comp plan. So I don't see how I could, in good faith, approve this and feel like I'm doing right by the neighborhood.
I agree. I just don't see the use. Firestone, I'll just use them as an example. I don't see a Firestone in a neighborhood. Where you see them is in commercial areas where they belong. Discount Tire, the same thing. They belong in commercial areas. They shouldn't belong smack dab into a neighborhood. I've never seen that. I've never seen it. So that's a concern of mine, that it's impacting the neighbors. They're upset about it. And the way the mistake was made, but it was made, and they got to own it. We have to own those mistakes. We have to make that right with the citizens of Fort Worth to say, hey, we made a mistake, and we need to fix it. We need to own it.
Yeah, and this again, and I think it was at least one other person said it. This says nothing about, Fifth Gear Automotive. It sounds like they're an awesome company.
Yeah.
And I hope they find another site if this doesn't get approved in Fort Worth. I think we want them here. I just don't think we should do it at the expense of the residents.
I agree.
In this case. So I appreciate what Commissioner Werman's trying to do, figure out a way out of this for both parties, it sounds like. But I kind of side with Commissioner Welch coming down on, are we just trying to kind of put some duct tape around here to hold this together? And when maybe it just kind of got to throw it out. But
So just to do like an informal poll of my friends up here and you, Jeremy.
Notice I'm not the friend. Make that clear.
My Supreme
like a personal attack there.
Commissioner Supreme Jeremy Raines. In my most people-pleasing manner, I still think I'd like to see more conversation had. But I think it's way more in-depth than these guys talking to each other. I think there's got to be more involvement. I just don't know what that looks like. So my question to you is, Commissioners, if we did a continuance until May, does that afford, in your mind, enough time for people to get together? Or do you think kind of where I'm here today. I don't think there's any more forward for either side. I think they've hit the wall, and that further time, you know, may yield some fruit.
Yeah.
I just don't know if it's there right now.
So my personal opinion on that is, and we've talked about this in previous meetings before about feedback, and again, thank you all for coming. I wish more people cared enough about their neighborhood and what was happening in it. And because we do want to hear that feedback. It doesn't mean we can always take it. It doesn't mean we're always going to side with you. Sometimes you're going to love us and sometimes you're not. But that's okay. We'll try and at least explain our reasoning. At least in my mind, if they were to come back and say, okay, we're kind of okay with it, in my mind, it doesn't change the land use at all. I still don't think it's a good, I think the land use is all wrong in a neighborhood. And I think, it doesn't follow the comp plan. It's just smack dab in the middle of a neighborhood. So that's just my opinion, though. So I would open to the rest of you guys.
And also, I guess at the end of the day, I mean, it's going to council, it's the council rep's decision to make, and that person's constituents are all sitting right here. So speak to your council representative.
Yeah, for my, excuse me. For my part, I support the chairman. I think it just doesn't seem like a delay would do anything for us. It doesn't change the location, doesn't change the access, doesn't change the proximity. I mean, nothing changes. And once we make this change, we don't know what will happen after that. So I support the chairman.
Yeah, so even if this doesn't go in, based on what it's currently zoned for, you know, a nursery could go in there today, and your traffic would actually, you know, ramp up tremendously. So until somebody buys this property and tries to rezone it residential the way it should be, you know, there's always that open window for somebody to come in with that type of business.
I agree with our chair, Jeremy Raines. I also agree with Mr. Robinson that the land use is not, I mean, a continuance is still going to be the same. I don't agree with the land use.
Commissioner, I think continuance is just kicking the can down the road. I agree with the other commissioners. From what I saw in the staff report, it looks like a 6-foot fence along the back of the property. It looks like, and I might be mistaken, that the site is elevated higher than the residential homes behind it. There was an aerial up previously, and it doesn't really appear that those backyards are very big. And so the reality of it is that, you know, you could have somebody sitting in their kitchen drinking their coffee in the morning waving to automotive technicians out their back windows. And so at the end of the day, for what appears to me is just a bad lease has been signed for this. And work done prior to getting the CO codified and finalized, it just seems like there's a lot of mistakes made down the line, and at the end of the day, it's not going to be a compatible land use.
Okay. For ZC-26-001, I move for denial with prejudice.
Second.
All right, we have a motion to deny with prejudice by Commissioner Werman and a second by Commissioner Rogers.
Commissioners, how do you vote? Chairperson Raines.
Aye.
Commissioner Trujillo.
Aye.
Commissioner Welch.
Aye.
Commissioner McCoy.
Aye.
Commissioner Edmonds.
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson.
Aye.
Commissioner Pierce.
Aye.
Commissioner Rogers.
Aye.
Commissioner Werman.
Aye.
And Commissioner Castro.
Aye.
With a vote of 10-0, the Zoning Commission votes to recommend denial with prejudice for this case.
Jeremy.
Next case on the docket,
Stephanie, 1 second. Hey, everybody who came here for that last case, you should stay for the next two things as well. If you want to learn more about what's about to happen where you live, you should pay attention to these next two cases.
okay. Next case on the docket is ZC-25-171. Case manager Stephanie Scott Sims. Site location, none. This is a text amendment to the zoning ordinance regarding the SB 840, 2477, and 15 zoning or state laws and the zoning ordinance amendments regarding those state laws.
Are you taking this one, Stephanie? Can't get my mic to work.
I guess I am. This is a city-initiated or staff-initiated zoning text amendment regarding the, excuse me, an amendment to the zoning ordinance to address the recent changes to state law regarding SB 840, HB 2477, and SB 15. And staff is recommending approval. And just a reminder that this case will also be heard by City Council on March 31st. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Anybody have any questions for staff? Did you want to add anything that you didn't add earlier? Okay. We do have three people signed up.
I think Chris covered it all.
Okay. We do have three people signed up to speak in opposition of this case. So if that is you, Brian, Josh, or I'm going to mess up this other name. Okay. If you'll go ahead and line up and give us your testimony here. And just as a reminder, if you heard me earlier, you guys have 7 minutes combined, so if you could keep it as brief as possible and try not to repeat points that someone else made. But if you'll just come up and give us your name and address and tell us why you're in opposition.
So my name is Joshua Galbraith. I live at 3212 Middlebrook Drive here in Fort Worth. You guys have seen me many times rezoning stuff and asking for considerations. I actually had a meeting this Monday with the staff about this particular bill, and I wanted to come here to really offer insight. I think based on what I was told on Monday, I will be the first and only one who gets it pushed through before there's additional challenges. And I would say the last case that just went through where you guys are trying to figure out how to accommodate the ER neighborhood stuff, you're going to, I would use that as a case study for why the SB 840 bill is a good thing, because that's going to be what affects us. So my only complaint at this point on the SB 840 is essentially considering the base zoning being switched to CR. So if we're familiar with base zoning CR, that is a 60% green space to 40% build space. To me, that completely undercuts and undermines the entire purpose of the SB 840 bill. Considering we could have used the multifamily zoning for D or C, that limitation really is what's causing my personal issues. So if you want to fix a lot of these commercial lots, these infill commercial lots next to neighborhoods, by allowing this to go through and not considering a less green space requirement, that's going to allow you all to build on some of these commercial lots, in my opinion. I gave everybody a letter, and I hope you guys consider it, and that's really my only feedback.
Thank you. Any questions, commissioners? Thank you very much.
Thank you guys.
Next, we had two other speakers. Did anyone else want to speak on this case? We had two other people signed up. Oh, y'all were together. Okay. All right. Stephanie, did you want to address that, or Chris, did you want to address that?
Whether or not using a CR base or C or D, that's really a policy decision from the city management as well as staff, whether or not we want more green space or less green space. I mean, it's not really a legal question. So, I mean, what was chosen is primarily, I believe, a policy decision more so than anything.
Okay. Thanks, Chris.
And so just as Chris said, he's absolutely right. So the CR district, which is our lowest intensity single-family or multifamily district, does have a 60% minimum open space requirement. The next highest density is our C district, which has a 45% minimum open space requirement. So really, it is up to, this, to zoning commission and council to decide how much green space do you want on a project or on these projects. And so staff took the approach of using CR, which was our lowest density district. And that's, but again, it's up to you all if you want less green space or open space on these projects.
Thoughts, commissioners?
I would say I'm an advocate for green space. When you travel to other parts of the country, the East Coast, and all you see are large buildings, you don't see very much landscaping or. So I'm a proponent. I love nature, and I would like to see more green space versus concrete.
Yeah. I tend to agree with you. I just want to definitely make sure that we balance that with, giving someone who buys a piece of land the ability to develop it. 60% is a lot. So one of our other options is 55, 45.
So, so the C district regulations have a 45% minimum.
So if you use that as the base, they would have a 45 instead of a 60.
Correct.
So 45% of the property would need to be green space.
That's correct.
And the rest they could build on it.
Yes.
Okay. That doesn't seem unreasonable to me. I mean, more green spaces, I'm like you, I love it. I want to see it. And certainly, we talk about flooding a lot of times, and that's becoming more and more of an issue. So certainly the more impervious surfaces we have in this city, the more flooding, inner city flooding is going to be an issue. So green spaces help protect. I'm sorry that public comment portion is closed, but we can still ask questions of you in a minute. I also don't want to discourage development, so just balance the two. I don't know which is right, just worth a discussion.
So I think the discouraging development, to me, just seems like speculation at this point. We don't have any data that shows 60 versus 45. CR is an established base district, and I would be more prone to supporting that.
Okay.
And can't waivers be applied for at the time? And
Stephanie?
when you have to prove proper landscaping and plans and things.
So
They can go to
the gist of building under SB 840 is that you don't have to go and get special approvals. It's administratively approved. So then when you add that, those
That defeats
waivers,
the
then that
purpose.
there's no use in trying to build under the SB 840 because it just adds an extra layer of approval requirements.
So the whole purpose of this is or one of the purposes is to make development easier on stuff that shouldn't need a whole bunch of approvals.
Right, yes. Now,
Stephanie, if I may, I'm kind of leaning toward comments about using a 45% figure because what we're trying, the 5 goals that the city council has set. One is affordable housing and so on and so forth. That is one of their key goals. And it seems to me that the more you put requirements on it, like 60% versus 45%, that you're not moving toward your goal. You're just creating another cost feature for the developer in that they can't develop as much on the property as they would otherwise. So I would tend to lean toward the 45%. If the council decides that green space is more important than their goal of affordable housing, then they can make that decision.
I guess I would like to add, so if you all are concerned about open space, well, what we could do is we could take a look at this again, broach this subject, and determine what might be most appropriate for the green space. Because I hear what you all are saying. You want green space, but 60% may be too much. And so I don't typically like kind of legislating from the dais. I really prefer, honestly, for staff to kind of take it back, ingest your comments, and come back with something that may be more palatable for you all. And so maybe we could do that and then come back in April.
I would be for that personally.
Yep.
Yeah, because I'd love some more feedback from staff as far,
Can we do 50% at least?
Because if you come back and say, no, we still think 45, okay, why? What did y'all discuss?
Well, and the other thing too is I want to make sure that
Or 60,
if
sorry.
we're making these changes, how does that affect other things, other
Right.
requirements?
Yeah.
And so I don't want to,
There's no reason for us to make a rush decision then.
there really is not.
And Texas is such a beautiful state. It's a beautiful, and so when you travel other places, and I'm always appreciative when I come back home, and I see the beauty of Texas, and Fort Worth is a very beautiful city. So I'm good with 60%, but I am a team player, so.
So we can continue this.
Okay.
We'll request to continue to next month.
Would anyone like to make a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we
Sorry,
continue.
let me close the public hearing. Sorry, I don't think I did that. Did anyone, or before I do that, I apologize. Did anyone have a question for any of the opposition or another question for Stephanie before we move? Okay. At this time, I will close the public hearing and leave it open for a motion. Sounded like
Mr. Chairman, I move that we continue this case until the next hearing. This is case DC 25171.
Second.
All right, we have a motion to continue until our April zoning commission meeting by Commissioner Edmonds and a second by Commissioner Robinson.
Commissioners, how do you vote? Chairperson Raines.
Aye.
Commissioner Trujillo.
Aye.
Commissioner Welch.
Aye.
Commissioner McCoy.
Aye.
Commissioner Edmonds.
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson.
Aye.
Commissioner Pierce.
Aye.
Commissioner Rogers.
Aye.
Commissioner Werman. Oh, I didn't know he left. And Commissioner Castro.
Aye.
All right, with a vote of 9-0, the Zoning Commission votes to recommend a continuance of this case to next month's meeting. All right. Next case on the docket is ZC-25-172. Case manager Stephanie Scott Sims. This is also a text amendment to the zoning ordinance to update the floodplain 01 district, to amend the purpose of the district and the uses that are allowed therein. And just a reminder that this case will also be heard by City Council on March 31st, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions, commissioners?
Mr. Chairman, if there's no discussion, I make a motion to approve.
I second.
All right, we have a motion to approve by Commissioner Edmonds and a second by Commissioner Welch.
Commissioners, how do you vote? Chairperson Raines?
Aye.
Commissioner Trujillo?
Aye.
Commissioner Welch?
Aye.
Commissioner McCoy?
Aye.
Commissioner Edmonds?
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson?
Aye.
Commissioner Pierce?
Aye.
Commissioner Rogers?
Aye.
And Commissioner Castro?
Aye.
With a vote of 9-0, the Zoning Commission votes to recommend approval for this case. Next case on the docket is ZC-25-199. Case manager is Enrique Alvarez. Case, Council District 8. Site location is 1904 McCurdy Street. Owner applicant is Jose Ortez Redondo. Request from I Light Industrial to B two-family residential.
Commissioners, y'all know me. Laura Reese, I will be translating for the applicant.
Excellent. Welcome to the Zoning Commission.
Sí, usted puede decir todo en español, yo lo voy a traducir.
Hola, mi nombre es José Ortiz. Estamos tratando de hacer el cambio de zona en este lote que tuvimos hace unos 2 años atrás y nada más queremos hacer el cambio de comercial a residencial y estamos tratando de construir un dúplex.
Okay, so he introduced himself, and he said that they bought this property about 2 years ago, and they're requesting to change it from commercial to residential because they would like to construct a duplex.
Pues nomás queremos que tomen en cuenta pues nuestro caso y creemos que no hay ningún problema con eso porque todo el área alrededor hay duplex también.
He would like for you to consider his request, and he thinks that this would be a compatible fit since there is residential and duplex use around this area.
Bueno, sería todo de parte de nosotros. Muchas gracias.
That's it, and thank you for hearing me today and taking this into consideration.
Thank you very much. Commissioners, any questions for the applicant? Okay, seeing none, there is no, sorry, go ahead, Commissioner Pierce.
I don't recall, did the city recommend this?
Yes.
Approval? They did?
Yeah. Yeah, land use compatible comp plan consistency. Yes. Yeah, this is the one that, it's in the middle, all this is residential all around it, and this is this one leftover industrial property. It's just kind of left over. This is almost like a cleanup case in some regards. There is no opposition for this case, so if there are no questions, thank you very much. We will close the public hearing, and Commissioner Pierce, this is yours.
Okay. Is there any feedback from fellow commissioners? None? Okay. In the case of ZC 25172, I'm sorry, wrong case. Hold on. In the case of ZC 25199, I move for approval.
Second.
All right, we have a motion to approve by Commissioner Pierce and a second by Commissioner Trujillo.
Commissioners, how do you vote? Chairperson Raines?
Aye.
Commissioner Trujillo?
Aye.
Commissioner Welch?
Aye.
Commissioner McCoy?
Aye.
Commissioner Edmonds?
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson?
Aye.
Commissioner Pierce?
Aye.
Commissioner Rogers,
Aye.
and Commissioner Castro.
Aye.
With a vote of 9-0, the Zoning Commission votes to recommend approval for this case. Oh, where am I? That's the next case. Okay, perfect.
Sorry, I messed up the order of the cases, so.
Yes, okay, sorry. Next case on the docket is ZC-26-009. Case manager is Dave McCorkadell, Council District 8. Site location is 4826 Wichita Street. Owner applicant is Vernon L. McCoy and Beatrice Ordorica. Request from PD 1354, Plan Development for all uses in E-Neighborhood Commercial, excluding ambulance, dispatch station, massage therapy and spa, golf course, gas lift compressor station, stealth telecommunications tower, telecommunications antenna on structure, utility transmission or distribution line, indoor amusement, event center or rental hall, commercial swimming pool, movie theater or auditorium, short-term home rental, feed store, no processing or milling, liquor or package store, parking area or garage, storage commercial or auxiliary, daycare center, plus waiver to supplemental setback, site plan approved. 2, amend PD 1354 to add massage therapy and spa, indoor amusement, event center or rental hall, short-term home rental, feed store, no processing or milling, liquor or package store as permitted uses, and exclude ambulance dispatch station, golf course, gas lift compressor station, stealth telecommunications tower, telecommunications antenna on structure, utility transmission or distribution line, commercial swimming pool, movie theater or auditorium, parking area or garage, storage, commercial or auxiliary, daycare center, and a development standard for supplemental setback and buffer yard. Site plan included.
Is the applicant present? Applicant, are you here? Okay, it appears the applicant is not present for this case. And Commissioner Pierce, there is no one signed up for opposition either. So this time we'll close the public hearing and let's just discuss. It looks like they're basically trying to take everything that it was originally, took out, they're trying to put back in with no real plan. I don't know, this one would be hard for me to approve personally.
Yeah.
I don't know what y'all think.
I agree.
Yeah, you definitely need a site plan if they're adding all this back in with no clear direction as far as what they plan to do with it. Being that they're not here to speak doesn't help.
And there's houses right below it on Rodeo there. It'd be difficult. And it doesn't follow the future use map.
No.
So. Commissioner Pierce?
All right. Any other comments? Okay. I agree with my fellow commissioners, and I move to deny case ZC 26009.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Pierce to deny and a second by Commissioner Rogers.
Commissioners, how do you vote? Chairperson Raines?
Aye.
Commissioner Trujillo?
Aye.
Commissioner Welch?
Aye.
Commissioner McCoy?
Aye.
Commissioner Edmonds? Commissioner Robinson?
Aye.
Commissioner Pierce?
Aye.
Commissioner Rogers?
Aye.
And Commissioner Castro?
Aye.
With a vote of 9-0, the Zoning Commission votes to recommend denial for this case. Next case on the docket is ZC-26-011. Case manager is Enrique Alvarez, Council District 8. Site location is 1205 Blodgett Avenue. Owner and applicant is Jose Bernal. Request is from E Neighborhood Commercial to B Two-Family Residential.
All right, is the applicant present? Oh, no, 2 in a row. All right. Applicant is not present. I don't believe we have anybody here to speak in opposition of this case. I'm not seeing any, and no one's raising their hand. So at this time, we will close the public hearing and leave it open for some discussion. And this one's kind of the opposite of the last one. This one looks pretty easy. Surprised the applicant's not here.
It does. If it's the land use, neighborhood commercial to two-family, so I don't see any issue with it. Any feedback from anybody else? No? Okay. I move for approval on case ZC 26011.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Pierce to approve and a second by Commissioner Rogers.
Commissioners, how do you vote? Chairperson Raines?
Aye.
Commissioner Trujillo?
Aye.
Commissioner Welch?
Aye.
Commissioner McCoy?
Aye.
Commissioner Edmonds?
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson?
Aye.
Commissioner Pierce?
Aye.
Commissioner Rogers?
Aye.
And Commissioner Castro?
Aye.
With a vote of 9-0, the Zoning Commission votes to recommend approval of this case. Next case on the docket is ZC-26-014. Case manager is Lynn Jordan, Council District 7. Site location is 8640 Bryson Lane. Owner applicant is Richard D. Outman of CR Fitness Holdings LLC and Tyler Wallach of Jackson Walker LLP. Request is rezoning from A43 one-family residential to E neighborhood commercial. Just a note that this case will be heard by the City Council on March 31st.
All right, is the applicant present? Welcome to the Zoning Commission.
Oh, I just want to say I've seen a lot of children here today, more than I've ever seen at any zoning commission meeting. And as a fellow parent, I give kudos to the parents because my kids would not have acted that way. They would have been a disaster. So I don't know if they're listening or if they're going to come back and listen, but kudos to the parents who brought the children. The children were well behaved. Anyways, Tyler Wallach, Jackson Walker LLP. So I'm here representing the development group that's developing Crunch Fitness. My address is 777 Main Street, Suite 2100, Fort Worth, Texas. So I wanted to show these pictures up front because Crunch Fitness is a national brand and they build quality products, quality development. So you can see that, and this is just one example, but they give nice articulation on their buildings and they maintain their buildings both inside and outside to a very high degree, and they're very proud of that. They're a no judgments philosophy, meaning you can be anyone, doesn't matter your size, doesn't matter anything else. They will accept you as you are and you can work out inside of Crunch Fitness. They have more than 500 locations nationwide, and on that map you can see there's about 20 of them in and around DFW, and they're expanding with more. They offer all sorts of personal training, Zumba, Pilates, yoga, and I'm not sure still how to say that fourth one, HIIT, I think, HIT, and ride. So if anybody knows how to say it, let me know. Is that close? So anyways, y'all seen the site. This is an updated, this is an updated aerial. So across on the, if you look going east to west is Bailey Boswell. That's a collector street. Going north-south on the far east side over there is Old Decatur Road. And you have Bryson Lane, which divides our property, highlighted in yellow, with the Bryson Elementary to the south and the neighborhood to the west. Our opinion, and we agree with staff, we'd recommend approval. We're requesting a recommendation of approval. We think it's compatible with surrounding land uses. We also think it's consistent with the comprehensive plan with that minor boundary adjustment. I'm going to take you through a kind of a history of this property, so that way you can kind of see how it's become, this area has become compatible with commercial uses over time. So this is 2001 when this was all designated A43, and you see Bryson Elementary there. 2007, still that way, but you can see Bryson Elementary's kind of put together a bus yard off to the west side there. 2016, that's when everything starts to kind of redevelop in this area. So it went from A43 to general commercial. 2018, then you have a huge block that goes from general commercial, or it goes from A43 to general commercial and E neighborhood commercial. Move forward to 2019, then you have the next block that was E neighborhood commercial. And then beginning in 2020, we start getting some actual development on these. So you see a lot of businesses starting to move in. 2023, you get a Burger King, Dutch Bros, Cane's, I think it's called Chicken Alley over there. Sprouts moves in. You get let's see, Jason's Deli. And then, as you can see, as it's no longer houses over on the east side right there, it is developed, and there's kind of an office park plus a breakfast place. And I think that's going to keep developing to the south right there. This is the proposed site plan. I know it's not before y'all today, but this may be reconfigured over time slightly, but this is generally what we're going for here. The entrances will not be facing the neighborhood, and they will not be facing the elementary school. The entrance will be facing the parking lot, going out east towards Old Decatur. We have met with we've met with the neighborhood. We've addressed some of their concerns on kind of the articulation and what the building potentially is going to look like over facing the neighborhood on the east side of ours and west side to the west side of the neighborhood. The red area is it's kind of a large detention pond over there, and we're actually overparked on this property by 44 spaces. So that's going to keep people out of the neighborhood into our lots. So again, this has been a steady transition over the last 10 years to a commercial use. This is exactly what you would expect out of a neighborhood commercial use. There's a neighborhood just a little bit further to the west that has a lot, A5 houses, so it gives them the ability and those neighbors to either drive over or walk over to this facility to work out. And plus, if you're going to be driving, dropping off your kids, picking up your kids from the elementary school and the intermediate school that's over there, parents can do a little workout before they pick up the kids. It'd be nice. Comprehensive plan, we think it's consistent with the minor boundary adjustment. We have the 2 connector roads, and so those commercial uses that we have, that's near those connector roads. The neighborhood services, they are within walking distance of a lot of things that are over there. And we can tie in kind of existing utilities in and around the area to our development, especially because it's the last one kind of coming in that block. And this Bryson Lane does create some buffers between ours.
Final thoughts.
Final thoughts. We have approval. No, we got a recommendation for approval from Eagle Mountain Saginaw ISD. We met with their superintendent. He was fully on board. And then Northwest Fort Worth Neighborhood Association deferred to Eagle Mountain, so we have 2 there. And then I think one of the individuals we met with at the neighborhood meeting is here to speak as well. So, any questions?
I have one before we hear from the opposition. You're asking to go to E. I'm assuming that's because of the height. Is that why you didn't go for ER?
I'm not exactly sure why we went from E to ER, or for E as opposed to ER, but
Tyler?
Here, I'll let our civil engineer speak on that.
Sorry, John Ainsworth.
Oh, you're John, sorry.
Yeah. John Ainsworth, Kimberly Horn, 801 Cherry Street. But I think E is limited on, isn't it square footage, I think it's limited?
There's a height restriction. There's the max height is 35 on ER and 45 on E. But a big difference is alcohol sales is prohibited in ER, not E.
I think there's a square footage
Is there a
restriction
square
too.
footage, staff? Is there?
I think it's a 10,000 square foot max in E.
There is? Okay. All right, I just wanted clarification as to why, because you're a fitness.
I don't think there's any intent to sell alcohol.
Yeah, at a
It
fitness.
would be nice, but yeah.
Well, when we get straight zoning cases, one of the things we like to think about is, obviously, we want your business to succeed, but if it doesn't, what comes next? So, okay, that explains that. Thank you very much. And now we did have, and it looks like you've got Lance. Are you just here just in case, or did you have anything? Okay. Well, you're out of time, but I'll give you time. I just want to make sure I knew which side you were on. And then I've got Carl Johnson here to speak in opposition. Come on up. And welcome to the Zoning Commission.
Chairman and members of the Zoning Commission, thank you for the opportunity to speak before you. My name is Carl Johnson, and I reside at 8625 Bryson Lane, which has been my residence since 2018. Intended to be my last move to my retirement home / nursing home / funeral home. I would like to validate my comments based on experience of 25 years of military service, followed by 25 years of municipal police law enforcement, retiring as a patrol division captain. As a homeowner, I'm opposed to the rezoning of 8640 Bryson Lane from residential to commercial. This is based on quality of life issues, such as sitting on my front porch enjoying a morning cup of coffee while watching the sunrise of my neighbor's white Southern plantation-style home will be replaced by staring at a 35-brick wall back of the intended fitness center. Additional resident street traffic drawn to the fitness center, especially during peak morning hours when traffic flow is already heavy due to the Bryson Elementary School on weekday mornings. We already have become a right-hand turn lane for Bailey Boswell and traffic trying to go south on Old Decatur Road. Although not scheduled for 24-hour operation, the increase in evening traffic, which is the top use time for modern fitness centers. The degradation of a residential street caused by initial construction and future commercial traffic. I don't know if they gave you the handout with a picture attached to that, is the wear and tear on a residential street not rated for heavy equipment and trucking has caused all damage there. I understand the progress to support the growth of our community due to the influx of people of a great city. In the past 7 years, I've seen our neighborhood reduced from 8 families to 4, and now the entire east side of our once quiet street will be fully commercial. I imagine it's only a matter of time before they knock on my door to replace my house with doctor's offices or other professional buildings. But until then, I would ask for a restriction on the construction traffic for this development to direct access from Old Decatur Road and the east-west section of Bryson Lane that faces the delivery area of Bryson Elementary, and not the north-south section of Bryson Lane that fronts the 4 remaining family residents. Thank you again for your time, and I'm glad to answer any questions as best I can.
Thank you for your comments. Any questions? All right. Also, thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right. Now we have 2 minutes for the applicant to come back and speak to any of that or any final thoughts.
Lance Cooper, 537 Morning Dove Circle, Lake Mary, Florida. I'm the developer for this Crunch Fitness. I do understand the concern. Our intent is not to impact the neighborhood. I can say all the things to that, but it is a retail use, commercial retail use. We do intend to over-landscape on both sides. As Tyler said, the access will be internal to the lot, not facing the neighborhood, so our traffic is kind of funneled to the inside of the lot, not behind to the landscaping, and then all of our lighting will be internal to the lot, and the lights on the outside will be, per code downlit so that they don't impose on the neighborhood. I can answer any questions and speak to that as well. That block is commercial. That will be the last holdout of residential in the block. And it complies with the future use, so.
You already own the lot, or are you?
We do not, no.
Okay.
We're under contract on the lot. We intend to close once we get the permit.
Okay, but you will be the owner-operator, you're not leasing it?
CR will be the owner-operator. Okay. We'll be the interim developer, and then CR will be the ultimate leasehold.
Okay.
CR is the largest franchise in the country for Crunch, and Crunch Fitness develops through two large and several other smaller franchisees.
Okay. Any questions, commissioners? All right, thank you very much, appreciate it.
Sorry, one more point. This is, to Tyler's point, is overparked, and it's substantially overparked from what our typical data criteria shows. So we tend to overpark for taking cars off of the neighborhoods that we go into. So that is our intent too.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, if there are no questions, I will go ahead and close the public hearing and leave it open for some discussion. This one's mine, so I've asked one of my fellow commissioners here to take this one. I do have some comments, and I'm certainly open to hearing yours too. I feel for Carl, because I know when he moved there, I'm sure, when we saw the pictures, we went through the timeline, it didn't look like that. Unfortunately, that whole block has already all been developed, and now there's just this one piece. To me, it is a good use of the land to put in something like this, especially where the rest of the block is now. But I do feel for Carl the same way. And when the day comes, and I hope it's not anytime soon, Carl, that you do need to move into that nursing home, I want you to be able to sell your house and your lot for the highest value possible. And if that means that getting rezoned, I certainly wouldn't want to set some precedent to restrict that. Yeah, I tend to be in favor of this zoning change.
For case, Mr. Chairman, for case ZC 26014, I move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Edmonds and a second by Commissioner Trujillo.
Commissioners, how do you vote? Chairperson Raines.
Aye.
Commissioner Trujillo.
Aye.
Commissioner Welch.
Aye.
Commissioner McCoy.
Aye.
Commissioner Edmonds.
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson.
Aye.
Commissioner Pierce.
Aye.
Commissioner Rogers.
Aye.
Commissioner Werman.
Aye.
And Commissioner Castro.
Aye.
With a vote of 10 to 0, the Zoning Commission votes to recommend approval for this case.
One comment. Mr. Wallach, for future reference, you pronounce that HIT, and it stands for High Intensity Interval Training.
So hit, like hit? Hit. Okay, good to know. Thank you.
You have your HIT workout coming after this, Judge?
You never know.
Next case on the docket is ZC-26-014. I'm sorry, 015, thank you. Case manager is Beth Knight, Council District 5. Site location is 3524 and 3528 Fraser Court. Owner applicant is CG Superb Homes LLC and Cesar Gonzalez. Request is from A5 one family residential to R10 lot line cluster residential.
All right, is the applicant present? Welcome to the Zoning Commission.
Good morning, everyone. I want to formally express my strong support for the proposed rezoning from A5 to R1 duplex residential in the Moser Valley neighborhood. As Fort Worth undergoes a period of rapid expansion, it is important that our land use policies reflect a commitment to flexible urban development. I believe this transition offers substantial benefits for both the Moser Valley community and the city at large. By diversifying our housing stock, we can foster a more equitable urban landscape. Expanding housing options allows residents of varying socioeconomic backgrounds to access desirable neighborhoods without the negative extremities of displacement or increased residential segregation. While I recognize that rezoning amendments necessitate rigorously evaluation, I view this proposal as a productive, forward-thinking strategy. It represents a vital opportunity for Fort Worth to ensure its growth remains inclusive, sustainable, and adaptive to the evolving needs of a diverse population. Introducing duplexes will help increase the availability of affordable housing in the neighborhood where additional options are urgently needed. This two-block neighborhood has many smaller homes under 1,200 square feet, which would be close in size to duplexes. There's already 4 duplexes in this two-block neighborhood. I've built several houses in this neighborhood and am the owner to the house right next door. And I have the recommendation letter of the owner of the other house on the other side. I think this rezoning to R1 is a reasonable request. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any questions for the applicant, commissioners? Okay, and we also have a Jeff Pointer signed up to speak. In favor?
Hello, everyone. How y'all doing? Glad to be here in front of y'all. My name is Jeff Pointer. I am a true descendant from Moser Valley, from the Parker family. I am the chairman of the Moser Valley Property Owners Association, and believe me, I know what needs to be in Moser Valley. And I do approve of it because we've had a lot of things go through in Moser Valley, and it's basically was all ag. We have people out there now occupying ag that has stuff that shouldn't be there. So all residential from this point forward, you're gonna see me. If it's some commercial there, I'm gonna deny it. We don't want any more of that there. But with this, what he's doing, with the new park that's coming, we just had the groundbreaking with Miss People and everything there. It was great. It's going to be great for the community. More residents is great with us. You know, me growing up there and watching it, you know, where it is now, and it should be more evolved, being that's, you know, the first Freeman town in, you know, Texas, and one of the oldest communities in the country. So the residents mean a lot to us to come back there and be there so they can enjoy the fruits that we did when we was kids able to. Fruits grew naturally there, you know, so they'll come, they will enjoy it, you know, and having that new park coming, the community center, the school that was there that my grandmother, great-grandmother, first attended, the first Negro school in Texas, the way they put it. The land was donated to HEB. So believe me, I know the history and know it should be there. And I know that right there. Because my grandmother, that whole area there was deeded from my ancestors on the deeds, the original deeds. So I approve it, and those duplexes be great for us.
So thank you for your comments. I think one of the concerns that staff had while they're recommending a denial is just going from A5 to R1 is a big change. It's a lot of levels to get there. It's just really dense. Like you would typically see that in more of like an urban setting, not so much in a more residential setting like you've got here. And you mentioned the word duplex, and I believe the applicant mentioned it too, and I would love his thoughts on this too, but wondering if like a two-family, like a B zoning makes more sense here where it's not so dense, because you're talking about 0 lot line, like cluster, like this is all house. There's no yard anywhere. So I'm just wondering if that might be a better fit if he's only planning on doing a duplex. Anyway, I'm curious why he went from A5 all the way down to R1. Can you help us understand that?
I went to R1 because the part of the block is already R1, so I thought it would be more easier for you to approve. But yeah, B would work for me also.
All right, thank you very much. Any other questions, commissioners?
I think one thing was pointed out in the workshop was that it changes the boundaries. The rest, I didn't see, let me ask the staff, is there another R1 lot on that block? I didn't see it.
I don't see it either, but Beth?
Towards the north of it, there's R1. It's some duplexes.
Maybe it's off the map.
It is off the
Okay.
map. It's one of the reasons, I believe why they did that is because it's immediately adjacent to Precinct Line Road, which is an arterial, instead of this site that is more interior to the neighborhood, that creates a spot of more intensive zoning than anything else that you see in the area.
Okay.
I also want to say that this is like a one block neighborhood. It ends at with this block, and right next to it is a truck parking spot and also a social club in the K.
Okay. All right. Thank you all very much. Appreciate it. Does that help?
Yes. I could ask Stephanie. Stephanie, is there a way that we could accommodate this and yet provide for a better, consistent future?
So I think.
I don't think he wants to build from, he's not talking about constructing something with a 0 lot line. He's talking about.
Well, I don't know. He
said he was happy with a B.
He said he would be happy with B. He thought it would be easier for us to approve R1 because there was R1 up there.
Yeah, but that isn't the way it sifts out. He's not wanting to build a 0 lot line building. So he doesn't need 0 lot line. So maybe we could approve something for him that would let him do what he wants to do and still have a consistent face on the block.
If we go to B, though, doesn't it have to be renoticed? No.
No, because it's less intensive,
Oh, okay.
I believe. Do you have a question for the applicant? Caesar, right? Is it Caesar?
Yes.
Do you have a site plan already?
I don't have a site plan. I mentioned to her that we would be building something similar to the duplexes that are already in the same block. I do have like a small little,
Let me ask you this, Caesar. How close are you to wanting to break ground on this?
probably.
Well, that would work.
Yeah, this is kind of somewhat what I want. I didn't bring the site plan, but it would have all the same setbacks as the house is already in place.
I wonder if it would make sense to do a continuance.
Yes, so that staff can work.
Are you in a rush to get this pushed through for any reason?
I mean, I would like to push it through, but if I could wait also if there's any details that need to be more thoroughly discussed.
Because it sounds like, I don't want to speak out of turn, but you might have a better chance of getting this approved, or a recommendation from us, if we get a more appropriate zoning down. So maybe if you had 30 more days to speak with staff and perhaps choose a different zoning category, might have an easier time.
Oh, okay, yes. Well, definitely, I would like to work with that option. That way I can further explain to her what I'm trying to do.
Okay. Any other thoughts?
Well, do we need a continuance if it's less intense, right?
Yeah, I guess my only thought, I mean, okay, I know what you're about to say now, I think, but yeah, that he would still have 30 days to the April
Process will
meeting.
still continue. I'm just trying to think.
I just hate to approve something that he can't actually work with. That's my only thought.
Right, for our purposes, though, like, are we good with R1 or B or whatever we're gonna do? If he says he can work with either one, and then we can have an opportunity to push the less intense one through, it might make sense.
I mean, I guess if we approved B, I'm thinking out loud, if we approved B and it turns out, oh, B actually won't work, I do need R1, he would just have to come back anyway, right?
B would definitely work for me.
Okay, all right. Well, that keeps us from having to come back. So.
And I agree, that area is a historic area, and I saw Councilwoman Peoples just dedicated a beautiful park, and it is a freedmen's area. That's what the slaves first relocated into Fort Worth, into that area, and parts of that area still has septic tanks, and so they need a lot of housing development in Mosier Valley. So I commend you for what you're doing. That area needs a lot of work, and hopefully this will be the anchor for more development to come. I hope so.
If you're willing to accept B2 zoning, I think we can just move ahead. Would that be all right?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve this with B2 zoning.
Second.
I'm sorry, I need to tell you the case number, ZC 26.
Sorry, it's just B,
B,
not
sorry, it's just
B2.
B. Yeah, B.
B, okay, B, yeah, sorry. Yep. Okay. Where are we here? Yeah, where are we here? 15?
Yes.
All right. ZC 26015. I recommend that we approve this for B zoning.
Second.
All right, we have a motion to approve B zoning by Commissioner Edmonds and a second by Commissioner Werman.
Commissioners, how do you vote? Chairperson Raines?
Aye.
Commissioner Trujillo?
Aye.
Commissioner Welch?
Aye.
Commissioner McCoy?
Aye.
Commissioner Edmonds?
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson?
Aye.
Commissioner Pierce?
Aye.
Commissioner Rogers?
Aye.
Commissioner Werman?
Aye.
And Commissioner Castro?
Aye.
With a vote of 10-0, the zoning commission votes to recommend approval for B zoning on this case.
Thank you.
All right. Next case on the docket is ZC-26-016. Case manager is Enrique Alvarez. Council District 5, site location is 5002 Pollard Smith Avenue. Owner applicant is Texas For Land LLC and Cooper Conger. Request is to rezone from A5 SSO or one family stop 6 overlay to UR/SSO urban residential stop 6 overlay.
Good
And
afternoon.
welcome back to the zoning commission, Marinell.
Thank you. Do you mind if, they don't have an overhead, and I didn't realize we were going to be down here today. Can I?
We can pass it around, yeah. That works great. We didn't know we were meeting down here either. Surprised us too.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Mary Nell Poole, Town Site 2918 Wingate here in Fort Worth. I'm here today representing the owner. This site is located within the Stop 6 Design District and across the street from the Fort Worth Hughes House Project, which spans 4 blocks and approximately 14 acres. The 2 blocks facing Pollard Smith Avenue are zoned PD 1260 with a base zoning of UR for multifamily. My client proposes to develop 10 attached townhomes in 1 and 2 bedroom configurations. The buildings will be 2-story with a front porch and front doors facing Pollard Smith Avenue in order to blend with the surrounding neighborhood. Parking spaces are provided in the rear and on the side behind the building line. The alley along the western border will be paved and provide access for one-way traffic through the site. As required in UR, there's a 5-foot landscape buffer yard along the southern border adjacent to the A5 zoning. There will be street trees and street lights along Pollard Smith Avenue, adding to the pedestrian-scaled streetscape that will also be developed on the opposite side of the street by Fort Worth Hughes House. These units will be for rent and provide needed workforce housing with clean design and sustainable materials. These 2-story townhomes will not only provide additional housing options, but also create a buffer to the single-story homes along the Etta Street from the more intense development across Pollard Smith Avenue. I did reach out to the historic Stop 6 Neighborhood Association. I have not heard back from them. I've worked with them in the past, but, excuse me, have not heard back. I also reached out to Councilwoman Peoples' office, had not heard back from her, but she usually likes to meet after the zoning hearing. I know that this area has looked for new development for a while, and I think this would be a great addition. I would ask for your support, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mary Nell. We have no one signed up to speak in opposition. Commissioners, are there any questions for the applicant? Okay, seeing none, we will close the public hearing, and Commissioner Edmonds, this one is yours again.
Mr. Chairman, for case ZC 26016, I move approval.
Second.
All right, we have a motion to approve by Commissioner Edmonds and a second by Commissioner Werman.
Commissioners, how do you vote? Chairperson Raines.
Aye.
Commissioner Trujillo.
Aye.
Commissioner Welch.
Aye.
Commissioner McCoy.
Aye.
Commissioner Edmonds.
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson.
Aye.
Commissioner Pierce.
Aye.
Commissioner Rogers.
Aye.
Commissioner Werman.
Aye.
Commissioner Castro.
Aye.
With a vote of 10-0, the Zoning Commission votes to recommend approval of this case. Next case on the docket is ZC-26-017. Case manager is Lynn Jordan, Council District 6. Site location is 5332 Sycamore School Road. Owner applicant is Polished Dimes Real Estate LLC, Series 2011. Carl Hulton, AutoZone Parts Incorporated. Wesley R. Berlin, Spartan Engineering Solutions LLC. Request is to rezone from PD 823A, planned development for all uses in E neighborhood commercial excluding alcohol sales, site plan approved, to amend PD 823A, planned development for all uses in E neighborhood commercial to include auto parts supply, retail with a site plan included.
Thank you, Stephanie. Is the applicant present? Welcome to the Zoning Commission.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Wesley Berlin. I'm with Spartan Engineering. Address is 2583 Pine Bluffs Court, Highland, Michigan 48357. First of all, I would like to thank you all for your time and discussion for our project today. Just so that it's clear what we're requesting, we're not requesting a change to the PD or to the underlying E. The request is to add AutoZone's actual use description, which is auto parts supply retail, to the list of allowable uses in the PD. When PD 823 was originally established under PD-08-122, it had an MU1 underlying as the base zoning. And based on the one second. Based on the City of Fort Worth Code, Table 4.1200, Form-Based Code Districts Use Table, auto parts supply retail is actually a use by right or permitted use in MU1. Subsequent to the PD being established, as part of the Dutch Brothers that was developed immediately to the east of this property back in 2020. They actually went in for a zoning change request under case number ZC 20-112. And based on the staff report for that zoning case, the request for the underlying zoning change to E was based on the dimensional difficulties, setbacks, parking lot location. However, with that zoning change, the uses were also attached to E from MU1. So again, I want to make the distinction we're requesting for an addition of our use to this district, but it's based on that E underlying zoning change, whereas we were compatible with that, the original MU1 that this PD was established. It kind of seems, this is my opinion, it seems to me that when this underlying zoning was changed from the MU1 to the E, it really is set up really like more of a commercial development in this case. So as you can see on the screen, we're that basically a pad-ready site. It's set up with the cross-access in the front. It's basically determined where the building is going to be, and it's really set up. The framework and the dimensional criteria is set up based on the E zoning district, which really supports commercial development for this particular property. Immediately to our east is a Dutch Brothers Drive-Thru Coffee, which is a standalone non-mixed use commercial. To the east of that, also within this PD, is a 7-Eleven convenience store and gas station. So we're trying to follow the framework of the development that has been set before us with how our site's going to be configured, which is basically commercial in nature. It's been my understanding there's been several attempts to develop this property due to the setback issues and different things with the MU1. Those are some of the reasons that the E underlying was adopted. There was mention in the staff report that and it's listed on the screen there, that our development would be consistent with the comprehensive plan. I do feel that we're consistent with the original framework of the PD, since MU1 what was the actual, or the original underlying zoning. The original staff report from the Dutch Brothers case, ZC 20-112, actually lists that development as compatible with a comprehensive plan, so I guess it's not really clear to me why maybe that would have been compatible and AutoZone in particular would not be. Maybe a clarification on that would be helpful for us to understand. AutoZone has actually successfully, we've developed numerous projects in the E zoning district elsewhere in the city. And we have done that through a conditional use permit. Here being part of a PD, the correct avenue instead of or in lieu of a conditional use permit would be to add our use to the PD. So essentially we're trying to arrive at the same situation, our use within an E zoning district, just the avenue to get there is a PD use amendment instead. We feel that we're a lower intensity use, being retail in nature, than both a drive-through and a gas station convenience store. Certainly less traffic generation, less use on public utilities and infrastructure. And I think from a visual standpoint, I think we would be less intrusive to the adjacent surrounding developments as well. We've really positioned our site to kind of buffer our main customer and parking area from the adjacent surrounding mixed-use developments. Proposing an attractive building, there's kind of a mixture of materials and color schemes and building appearances, all very beautiful in their own regard, and I think that we are blending it as best we can. I do have a sample elevation that I can pass around if anybody's interested. It's not part of the packet, but essentially it's an earth tone color building, lighter browns, tan color. We have a nice stone accent materials to kind of blend in with some of the other businesses. So I think from a visual perspective, it'll be a very attractive development as well.
You're almost at time, so final thoughts.
Okay. I'm not aware of any opposition. We've had a lot of dialogue with the Council 6 district office, had neighborhood meetings, and we're not aware of any opposition or outstanding issues. So thank you for your time. We feel that we're compatible here and look forward to your approval. Recommendation for approval. Thank you.
Thank you, Wesley. Okay, we don't have anybody signed up to speak in opposition. We did have a Trey Williams signed up. Is he just here just in case we've got questions? Okay. All right. Thank you, Trey. And this is yours, Commissioner Robinson. I do have a question, and you might have one too. This may be for staff, and then it may be for you too. So on the original PD, they excluded alcohol sales. On the amendment, does that automatically get drawn in there? Do we need to include that again? Because I don't think AutoZone's trying to sell alcohol. Could we put that back in if they don't?
For purposes of how I would read this and how I interpret this is that they are only just adding the auto parts supply and retail to their existing. So when it's just saying amending it, they're not removing anything. It's just amending it to include. So whatever existed
So the wording
prior,
that says all uses in E, that should not scare us.
It just mirrors kind of what exactly occurred before. So
that stays with it.
Yeah, everything that would stay, it just goes, it's just including the auto.
Thanks, Chris. That was all I had, Commissioner. Any questions or thoughts?
The only concern, I know what this plot is because I've seen it, because I go to that Dutch Brothers. The only concern I have is that parking and people getting in and out, because that Dutch Brothers right there gets contested, especially in the mornings. Because I see competing traffic issues. And then the apartments that are behind it, I can't think named the Dillon, those apartments behind it, what does those residents think about a building? They look out their door and there's a building right there. Because now they're used to seeing nothing but a lot there. That's the concern I have, is that parking. How is that parking going to be configured? 'Cause I think that's what the issue was, staff, before, was the parking situation. Is that what the issue was for this property not being developed? Was parking and something else?
Yeah. Yes. Can you hear me? Okay. Yes, it was parking and the building orientation, because you had to set the building closer up to the street.
Yeah, see, that's the other thing, because that little, I guess that egress from them, they built that little pad to go out of the Dutch Brothers and the 7-Eleven, that was already there, so now you're gonna take that away and put a parking lot there. I think that's gonna cause congestion with Dutch Brothers, especially because they are congested.
So there's, that's a good point. Something I was looking at is, because this is, all uses in E minus alcohol sales. So by right, somebody could put in a gas station, which would be even more, cause more congestion than like an AutoZone would. They could do a restaurant you know, a McDonald's could go in right there, and that would be even more traffic by right. Okay, Burger King, you know how they're feuding right now.
McDonald's on across the street from me.
I would
So-
think that AutoZone would be a lot less traffic intensive than any restaurant would be or gas
Yeah.
station.
Yeah.
Just the parking situation, I'm concerned about that.
Yeah.
I know they don't, I've gone to AutoZone. I'm a member, the club member, so, see, there you go. And sometimes it's busy, sometimes it's not, so there is some lull in traffic. So I don't know, I'm kind of complex on that, on the traffic issue. I don't know, anybody else got any feedback on that? I'm good with doing it as it is, but the only concern is that traffic and that corner between Summer Creek and Sycamore School Road. That is very congested in the evenings. It is really congested between 3 and 5. Oh, it's murder road trying to get out of there, get in there. And now they're trying to build a light further down Sycamore School Road, and that's going to just back up traffic even further. So that's my only concern.
I think it's a good point to bring up. But again, I would point back to if, you know, this were to be developed as a fast food joint, that would cause even more congestion, and they could do that by right without having to come back to us at all. So I think this may actually be better. I don't know.
Oh, I'm fine with it either way. I mean, it doesn't, I think it'll benefit that land. It needs to be something done with it because it's been sitting there since I moved in the neighborhood. It's been sitting there for at least 7 years, empty.
Ready to make a motion? All right, we'll close the public hearing. Thank you very much.
Anybody else got any feedback before I say that? Nope.
All yours, Commissioner.
Put it on the floor there. All right, in the case of ZC 26017, I move for approval.
Second.
I have a motion to approve by Commissioner Robinson and a second by Commissioner Trujillo.
Commissioners, how do you vote? Chairperson Raines?
Aye.
Commissioner Trujillo?
Aye.
Commissioner Welch?
Aye.
Commissioner McCoy?
Aye.
Commissioner Edmonds? Commissioner Robinson?
Aye.
Commissioner Pierce?
Aye.
Commissioner Rogers?
Aye.
Commissioner Warman?
Aye.
Commissioner Castro?
Aye.
With a vote of 10-0, the Zoning Commission votes to recommend approval of this case.
Thank you, sir.
Next case on the agenda is ZC-26-020. Case manager is Dave McCorkadell, Council District 11. Site location is 5329 and 5355 First Street. Owner applicant. Did I skip one? I'm sorry. Sorry about that. ZC-26-019, case manager is Beth Knight, Council District 9. Site location is 2837 and 2841 8th Avenue. Owner applicant is Tarrant Properties Incorporated and Texas 4 Land LLC. Request is to rezone from E Neighborhood Commercial to B 2 Family Residential.
All right, is the applicant present? Welcome to Zoning Commission.
Thank you. My name is Cooper Conger. I'm the owner of New Pad Building Company. Tarrant Properties, Inc. was the former owner. I'm also part of Texas 4 Land LLC, kind of interchangeable with New Pad. 251 Sunset Lane, Fort Worth, Texas. So I own this site here at 2841 8th Avenue. And as you can see, it's currently zoned E-commercial with A5 straight east of it and A5 straight south of it, and then a gas station commercial straight west of it. Further north along 8th Avenue where it turns into an actual 4-lane road instead of that residential road like mine fronts on. There is a lot of commercial, and it's a great commercial area. I bring a proposal to change this to duplex to match that residential neighborhood that it currently sits in. So first, some of the local engagement we did. I did meet with the Ryan Place Neighborhood Association that is very active in this area. I brought them this project and just showed them the pros and cons of, hey, this is what a commercial project that someone could bring here versus this is the residential scale project that I would be proposing. And then I also went door to door and did outreach on that street and on the street directly behind it. I probably knocked on about 20 doors. I probably got 10 answers, I think. 4 of them decided not to sign my support letter, and 6 did decide to sign my support letter. I also met with Councilwoman Beck and reviewed the project details, and we both agreed that it aligned with the district's housing goals, specifically on this local residential type street. I wanted to show y'all what the commercial zoning for allows today. So that hatched area would be the building, pretty much takes up the entire width of the lot. And then the single-family homes, the A5, so the top of that where it says single-family homes would be the single-family homes to the east. That'd be a 15-foot setback, and then essentially just a parking lot in the front, because as you know, there's parking requirements. And so this would essentially turn into a parking lot, which was the exact opposite of what the Ryan Place Neighborhood Association wanted to happen in their land, or in their neighborhood, excuse me. And then also the neighbors that I spoke to directly behind were not too fond of a commercial building being 15 foot from their backyards. As well as the customer parking lot, traffic and deliveries, and the higher intensity that comes with the commercial use on a residential street next to residential homes. So this is our proposed development. We want to build 2 duplexes here. Each side of this duplex would have 3 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms, about 1,400 square feet. One of the major concerns for Ryan Place was student housing, and I understand that. I was a TCU student. And being a TCU student, I realized that these being 3-bedroom units will not attract students. The only student it may attract, because it's a far walk to TCU, people aren't really walking to TCU, is the older graduate student or someone that's coming back to school that doesn't want to be in the hustle bustle of being right next to TCU, but want to be close. Our main buyers on these, as I'll show you here. So as you guys can see, it's residential in orientation. They've got great backyards. We're putting backyards next to backyards and residential next to residential, which is why I think it's such a great fit. As you can see on the right side of your screen, we are a really solid fit in and around all these houses around there. In the staff report, it mentions that we may limit commercial development directly north and directly south of us. I do not foresee this being an issue because it's already a residential house to the north of us and it's already a residential house to the south of us. So we're actually fitting in well with them. That house you see to the north actually used to be a business, and then they went out of business, and so now it's a residential house. And so it's a single-family homeowner living in there. And like I mentioned, it's not student housing. We sell our duplexes to typically end buyers. We get a ton of VA buyers in Fort Worth, a ton of FHA, people that want to live in one side and rent out the other. They see it as an investment long-term. They like the neighborhood. They want to own things in Fort Worth. And it's an awesome opportunity, some of the crazy good deals we get these people. And then, just wrapping up, we see it as a logical buffer between the commercial that is to the west and to the north, that gas station, a good solid buffer from the lower density single family to that high density or high intense use commercial. And it'll be a quieter residential use that will greatly benefit the neighborhood. And with that, I'll open up to any questions.
Thank you, Cooper. And we don't have anybody signed up to speak in opposition of this case. I'll say from the outset, we always appreciate it when developers go out and speak to the community and try and get some feedback, being engaged. So thank you for doing that. It looks like you got 6 letters of support and only 1 in opposition, so that may have paid off. Questions, commissioners?
I have a couple of questions. So the property that you're proposing, that's for sale, not for rent?
That's correct. So how we do it is we build a duplex, and then we'll sell the duplex, and typically someone will live in one side and rent out the other. And that's not to say an investor won't buy it. We get more primary occupants than investors, but at the end of the day, that's as someone that has the right to buy property.
And that note that was in our preparation, you have talked to the person that lives to the north?
Yes, sir.
And they own that property and they live there?
Yes, sir.
And the same to the south?
I couldn't get a hold of the person to the south. All I know is it's a residential house. They didn't answer their door.
Okay. Yes, sir. All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Sorry, were you going to?
Well, there's another note on the staff report about SB 840 and the ability to develop multifamily here. I want to be very upfront that the Ryan Place Neighborhood Association, which multifamily is 3 units or more, They would not be a fan of anything 3 units or more on this site. They were happy with the duplexes I proposed. They were happy, but they wanted me to do more open space in the driveways, which I did. And so they would not be in favor of multifamily here, and I would like to honor them as well.
I would like to follow up on our chairman, what he said about, we very much appreciate the fact that you went and talked to people in the neighborhood, knocked on doors. Actually, that can be brave in Ryan Place. You never know. So you didn't get any real serious opposition. We don't see anybody here, and nobody filed anything. So any feedback from them that was negative from your thought?
With the Ryan Place, the only negative feedback was we went originally with a site plan that showed bigger driveways, and there's only so small a driveway can be. So we reduced them a little bit to do more open space, and we did that. But really, there wasn't any negative feedback, especially knocking on doors around the street. They were all excited that somebody was going to develop that property. Was the main feedback.
And then it looks like in the background I don't see a lot of people rushing forward to develop this property for decades.
Exactly right. Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you
Any
very
other
much.
questions for Cooper? All right, thank you very much.
so much for your
There's
time.
commercial above it that was there,
We'll
and now
close
it's
the public
residential
hearing.
again since,
If you'll will you go back to the slide that showed all the lots? There it is, that one. I'm not going to be able to speak.
Yeah.
cut out.
I don't know, just thought that was interesting.
Yeah, I'm very open to your thoughts as well. I was initially looking more towards denial, but after the presentation and looking back over the information we have, I'm leaning much more towards approval. Just from what he showed us, from the feedback he got from the neighborhood, talked to a person that lives to the north in the house, so evidently someone's living there and someone lives to the south. So I don't see that as a detriment to going forward. And again, like I said, as it points out in our background and description, there's not been a lot of folks rushing forward to develop this property.
Yeah, I think it's kind of unique. I understand why staff is recommending denial, but I think it's unique. And I think it's worth us considering.
I do too. I understand it completely, sure. Any thoughts, anybody?
The neighbors directly behind it were good with this, correct?
That's what I believe that's what he said, yeah, because he'll have a backyard to a backyard.
Yeah, I got a hold of 2 of them, and both of them were in support. I knocked on every one of their doors 3 times, and I only got 2 of them. But the one directly behind me was very supportive for it.
Yeah, I'm sure they'd rather have residential than a commercial property right up against their back fence.
Yeah, and as Commissioner Edmonds, brings up often, and this may be what you were about to say, so maybe I should stop, but, one of the goals of, the city council right now is more affordable housing and more housing stock in general, and so this certainly helps them meet that goal, so.
Not yet. Wait, any more comments, anybody? Okay, very good. So on case number ZC 26019, I move approval.
Second.
All right, we have a motion to approve by Commissioner Rogers and a second by Commissioner Trujillo.
Commissioners, how do you vote? Chairperson Raines?
Aye.
Commissioner Trujillo?
Aye.
Commissioner Welch?
Aye.
Commissioner McCoy?
Aye.
Commissioner Edmonds?
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson?
Aye.
Commissioner Pierce?
Aye.
Commissioner Rogers?
Aye.
Commissioner Warman?
Aye.
Commissioner Castro?
Aye.
With a vote of 10-0, the Zoning Commission votes to recommend approval for this case. All right, next case on the docket is now ZC-26-020. Case manager is Dave McCorkadell, Council District 11. Site location is at 5329 and 5355 First Street. Owner applicant, West Fork Properties / City of Fort Worth. Request is rezoning from C medium density multifamily, D HR1 multifamily high-rise, E neighborhood commercial, and G intensive commercial, I light industrial, and K heavy industrial to O1 floodplain.
Is the applicant present? Is this the city or? Okay. I also have someone signed up to speak in favor. Do you want to say anything first?
Do you have anything? I don't have anything to say.
Okay. Carol Peters, are you here? Hi, Carol. Welcome.
Short. Hi, my name is Carol Peters. Good afternoon, Honorable Chair and Commissioners. I represent the West Meadowbrook Neighborhood Association. I'm speaking in support of the council-initiated rezoning of properties on East First Street, case ZC 26020. The staff recommendation to rezone almost 300 acres near the Trinity River and the entrance of Gateway Park is essential to protect the Trinity River from industrial development. Thank you to the Assistant City Manager, Dana Bergdorf, for acting swiftly to recommend protection of this land for future generations. This case is long overdue correction of the mix of uses left over from bygone years. My only regret is it was not part of a larger, more comprehensive review of what the Trinity River could become. The Trinity River is the city's lifeblood. Therefore, we need to be more proactive about protecting it. Thank you, and please vote to approve. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Peters. All right. This is, are there any questions for staff? Okay, seeing none, I will close the public hearing. And Commissioner Castro, do you have any discussion? Do you want to make a motion?
Carol, thank you for being here. I too am in favor of the city focusing and bringing back green space and safety for potential increased flooding should anything else be tried to develop here. Anyone else have any other discussion? If not, okay. All right. So with that, I move for ZC-26-020 for approval.
Second.
All right, we have a motion to approve by Commissioner Castro and a second by Commissioner Werman.
Commissioners, how do you vote? Chairperson Raines?
Aye.
Commissioner Trujillo?
Aye.
Commissioner Welch?
Aye.
Commissioner McCoy?
Aye.
Commissioner Edmonds?
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson?
Aye.
Commissioner Pierce?
Aye.
Commissioner Rogers?
Aye.
Commissioner Werman?
Aye.
And Commissioner Castro?
Aye.
With a vote of 10-0, the Zoning Commission votes to recommend approval for this case. Next and last case on the docket is ZC-26-028. Case manager is Beth Knight, Council District 11. Site location is at 3717, 3721, and 3725 McCart Avenue. Owner applicant is Igor Ozegovich, Glenn Paul Lemon, and City of Fort Worth. Rezoning from E Neighborhood Commercial with Conditional Use Permit for Auto Sales and Repair, site plan waived, to E Neighborhood Commercial.
Before you come up, sorry, does the city have anything to add?
I don't think so.
Okay, it was all covered during the work session. Okay, we do have one person here to speak in opposition, so at this time, Glenn, if you would come up.
Hello, I'm Glenn Paul Lemon. I go by Paul. A little bit about myself. I'm a lifelong resident of Fort Worth, Texas. I grew up here in Southwest Fort Worth, J.T. Stevens Elementary, Wedgwood Middle, Southwest High School, TCC, Texas Tech, TCU. Anyway, started out as a young man and built a lawn and landscape maintenance company that's been in business for over 40 years. I've been in business so long that I had customers that would start dying or moving into assisted living, so I started a home investment company buying the homes of my deceased customers or customers that would move. And I know a thing or two about maintaining neighborhoods and improving neighborhoods to historical accuracy. I've owned this property, this historic Sinclair gas station. I bought it, it was dilapidated, run down, in disrepair. I went to pressure washing it to clean it up, and several layers of paint came off and the word Sinclair appeared. And I've got ties to Sinclair Oil with my family. But the building structure was built in 1950 by Sinclair Oil Refining Company. And I have spent a lot of money and sweat equity restoring this for what is a neighborhood drive-by experience. I keep some of my toys over there, and I've owned it for over 25 years. I then purchased the property next to my property based on the zoning and the conditional use permit. It's important to me for the things that I want to do. I want to build a building next door to the Sinclair station to house a classic auto collection that I have, and I want to do it. I don't want to build some ugly building that looks like it's on somebody's back 40 in Azle. I want to do something of Googie architecture that's conducive and complements my building. And so it's important to me that the existing zoning maintains what it's already zoned for. Let's see here. The rezoning was staff initiated to correct a newspaper notice error in a prior case, ZC 25-168, not for legitimate planning purposes. The city's own application acknowledges this. Property owners should not lose rights due to the city's administrative error. Since acquiring these properties, I've invested a significant amount of money, and as the property owner, it's meaningful that I was not consulted before the rezoning was initiated. The Rosemont Neighborhood Association was met with 4 times, but I was not directly engaged. Is it Rosemont or is it Fairmount? Rosemont, okay. The application was filed without my signature or consent. The newspaper notice for the prior case indicated with the CUP would remain, giving property owners no reason to object at all those hearings. My silence at those hearings should not be used to justify removing my property rights now, and I respectfully request that the Zoning Commission recommend denial of this case and that the City Council deny the proposed rezoning. I've saved money for 10 years, over 10 years, to build a building next to the Sinclair station to do what I want to do, and now I'm being told, Mr. Lemon, you're not going to be able to do what you want to do, or if you try to do what you want to do, we're going to trigger all of these setbacks, landscape things, and we're going to limit the use of you're not going to be able to put cars in it, you're not going to be able to put some of your historic porcelain signs, and I'm like, okay. There goes 10 years down the drain of I don't know if any of you have driven by this. It's on McCart Avenue, but it's polished to the nines. It shines like a diamond. I keep it freshly painted and maintained. I maintain the property. It's mowed once a week. The trash is picked up. I mean, as far as the neighborhood goes, and not to sound tacky, but the properties behind my historic Sinclair gas station look like a third world conflict zone. Boarded up houses, dilapidated houses, code violations out the wazoo. So I'm someone who's gone into this area and put a lot of sweat equity and time into it and is making it shine. So with that, I'll leave it to you guys.
Thank you for coming and sharing that with us. The city, do you want to say anything with your 2 minutes?
Beth, would you like to come up? Because it was my understanding that we are just making him whole again. We're rezoning to make him to what he was originally zoned. So I guess now I'm a little confused.
You're correct. In all of the Rosemont neighborhood meetings that we had over 2025, it was shown as E neighborhood commercial. And when the Rosemont rezoning case went forward, it was noticed as E neighborhood commercial. The CUP would not allow him to have, even if it remains, is not going to allow him to have a building where he houses vehicles, because that's storage. That's a warehouse. That's not auto repair. So as even leaving the CUP, it does not get him where he needs to go. The other thing, too, is that the CUP was waived because the sites that they were proposed for have existing buildings on them. So you knew what you were getting. With this, to put in a auto repair facility on what is really a residential sized lot, because it's exactly the same as the lot behind it, is still going to be really tight, because of the setbacks on the back, and parking and those sorts of things would still be required. If he is interested in doing storage for his signs or his autos, then he should come back and do his own CUP for those uses specifically, as well as tying it in with the lot to the south where there is more room to do those sorts of things.
So you're saying, if I'm understanding you correctly, if we were to deny this and it went back to the E with the CUP, he still wouldn't be able to put that warehouse up and store cars?
That is
He would still have
correct.
to come back to us with a different CUP?
That is correct.
Okay. Okay.
Approving this today makes him whole as he would have been originally had it not been changed without his knowledge. So wouldn't be,
So he
he
would-
would be better off to approve it today and then let him come back.
And then
with
him come back and
CUP.
ask for a
Yeah.
CUP, what he actually wants, so he can actually build a warehouse and do that, so, okay, yep,
Yes,
that makes
that
sense.
that is-
I just want to make sure we're not hurting him or injuring the property, but. Sure, yeah, no, I get you, so, and that's what we're trying to figure out here, but it sounds like the only way for you forward is for you to come back and apply for a CUP that allows for vehicle storage.
We would need to discuss kind of the proposal of what you're doing with the setbacks that would be required and how that would work. So there is a process that the city has called a pre-development conference that is a free opportunity for people who are looking at building to come in and talk to us and get kind of the different departments' input on how their proposed development would work.
Okay.
Well, I just want to recap for everyone, for the sake of everyone. So council initiated a rezoning of a large area of land, which we call the Rosemont rezoning. It included these properties. Council has the ability to do that without approval or any type of, without getting the approval of property owners. They have that ability to do that. His property, Mr. Lemon's property, was part of that rezoning, and his initial zoning was E neighborhood commercial. Okay, and so then with the Rosemont rezoning, it was mistakenly, accidentally rezoned to E neighborhood commercial with conditional use permit for auto sales and repair, site plan waived. We are now just trying to clean that up and take him back to what he originally was zoned as, which is E neighborhood commercial.
Yes, and those sites, because they have existing auto-oriented uses on them, did have the CUP added to it. These
Okay.
were accidentally included in that block range, but they don't and are not proposed for auto sales or auto repair.
Okay, all right, very good. Any questions for Beth? Okay, thank you, Beth, and we will close the public hearing at this point. All right, so it sounds like if Paul wants to do what he wants to do, it doesn't matter if we approve this or deny it, he's still gonna have to go back and get a CUP that allows for auto storage. So you'll just have to come to staff and we'll go to that development meeting that Beth plugged for us, for anyone watching. All right, Commissioner Castro, do you wanna make a recommendation or have some more discussion?
Sure, no, I appreciate the recap. This one certainly ended up being a curveball, but thank you for all the background and clarifications. I think recognizing that this is just a correction to an accidental newspaper notice, I vote to approve CZ-23028.
All right, we have a motion to approve by Commissioner Castro and a second by Commissioner Welch.
Commissioners, how do you vote? Chairperson Raines?
Aye.
Commissioner Trujillo?
Aye.
Commissioner Welch?
Aye.
Commissioner McCoy?
Aye.
One second,
Commissioner-
Stephanie, hold on.
I'm sorry.
Chris, when she made her motion, she said ZC-23.
Nope.
Yeah. I just want to make sure that we were correct on that.
Approval for CC-26-028 for approval.
Thank you for catching that.
Do I need to restart? Okay.
Second.
All right, we have a motion to approve by Commissioner Castro and a second by Commissioner Werman.
Thank you for that catch, Commissioner Werman. Chairperson Raines?
Aye.
Commissioner Trujillo?
Aye.
Commissioner Welch? Commissioner McCoy?
Aye.
Commissioner Edmonds? Commissioner Robinson?
Aye.
Commissioner Pierce?
Aye.
Commissioner Rogers?
Aye.
Commissioner Werman?
Aye.
Commissioner Castro?
Aye.
With a vote of 10-0, the zoning commission votes to recommend approval for this case.
Stephanie, is it possible that Mr. Lemon could visit with staff after the meeting and figure out what he needs to do?
Absolutely.
All right, thank you all very much for being here. Appreciate your service, and you all have a good week. Judge Rogers, enjoy your HIIT workout, and we are adjourned.
You'll hit.